Hello, Blade.
Hey there, CJ. How you doing today?
I am tired.
I know that. No, that goes. It was a long week last week.
Yeah. In my case, this will kind of segue into the first topic I wanted to go over right off the bat is that I am trying to get back on the health bandwagon again.
Yes.
And so I got a new gym membership yesterday, and I started dieting properly again today, and that includes like basically going completely cold turkey on stuff with a lot of sugar in it. So no, I'm trying to go like cold turkey on sugar and caffeine and stuff like that. So like no coffee in the morning. Um, Trying to cut out my usual like breakfast routine with something lighter. And so I had like extremely light breakfast, extremely light lunch, extremely light dinner. No coffee, no soda, just water, which is exactly what I should be doing and what I've done in the past, and I know it works. But man, do I feel tired. And it's like the withdrawal, the caffeine like withdrawal and sugar withdrawal is like it is a hard thing to break. And when you're doing like a calorie deficit diet thing, and you already know this from experience,
Indeed, indeed.
is that you just feel like you're starving all the time. And I know they say you're not supposed to feel hungry if you're doing it right, but man, do I like I just ate dinner and I'm starving and I know I cannot eat again for the rest of the day and it sucks. But I have like 50-ish pounds to lose, which is really frustrating because I have waxed and waned back and forth in about a 15 to 20 pound range in the past like 4 to 5 years.
Basically, since COVID.
But yes, and since gaining the initial weight during COVID, um, old clothes have not fit me anymore. Old cosplays have not fit me anymore.
I
And
miss Archer. That's all I gotta say. I really miss the Archer.
yeah, yeah, me too. Like that. That's like the one of the reasons why, because I was gonna do that bit in the Elemental Blade Works video where I like did the back and forth shot reverse shot of me in normal clothes and me as Archer, as a bit, and I didn't do it partially because I thought it was cringe, but partially because the cosplay wouldn't fit anymore, and that was like super demoralizing. And here we are. That was like 2021, and we're in 2025, and I've still not lost that weight, and so. I am super, super, super committed, and it's gonna happen this time. It might take a good several months to get there, but I'm hoping to lose at least like 5 to 7 pounds a month. And I will not try on the old cosplays until I'm at like my goal weight. I will, as I start losing weight, I'll start trying on some of my old clothes don't fit anymore because like I would say a good like 80% of my shirts don't fit, and that sucks. So as soon as maybe when I get to like the around like the 220-ish range, I'll try on some of my old shirts to see if they fit and start wearing those. But I will wait deliberately until I've hit the goal weight to put Archer back on and a couple of the other cosplays that don't fit anymore.
Yes. On our end, Sir Isaac Fortescue says, "Good luck to you with that." So, you got support from our side at least.
Yeah, I sure appreciate that because I know you've been there and done that with this before and had some great results as well.
Yeah, it's been years since I've tried, but yeah, I have. Um, One time it was through just traditional means. The other time it was through keto. And I'm not gonna say that keto like was a mistake, but it got results. I just really didn't stick with it after I got married. I just kind of stopped caring after that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should be proud of your commitment that you were able to do that and that it worked. And I know from people that I've known in the past that like keto does work for sure. Like you will lose the weight, but if you go off of it, you will gain it right back. And
Yep.
it also is like you would have to like supplement certain nutrients that you're not getting because you're eating you're not eating a varied diet, you're eating a very specific diet. And
Correct.
so you're depriving yourself of a lot of nutrients that you would get if you had a more varied diet.
Yeah.
But I know it works, but I just don't think that would be for me because I don't think it would be a good idea for me to do it forever. And if I don't do it forever, I won't keep the weight off. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And yeah, like I said, been there, done that. And when I stopped it, it just kind of went whoop, just immediate reverse.
Yeah. And June's asking if I am doing only diet or if I'll be working out again as well. I am going to be working out. I did get a gym membership. Yesterday morning, I went and signed up to a new gym. It's like right around the corner from my house. It's super close. I'm going to try to go at least like 4 times a week. And fitting that into my schedule is going to be tight, but I know I can do it, and I have the motivation. And I didn't know how much time I had today. I actually thought about running to that gym today before we got on the stream, but I decided I didn't have enough time. But I was doing some basic workouts just in the bedroom before I got on here.
Yeah, it's crisis core. You
And
just do the squats wherever you are. You know, just
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm gonna have to push myself, but I also am going to have to take it easy a little bit because I am frustrated at how like out of shape I am compared to, like I said, like 2017, 2018 me. And there are certain workouts I could do back then that I just feel too weak to do right now. And so I have to like find a balance of like pushing myself pretty hard, but also not like lowering my expectations appropriately to be like, don't get burnt out because or don't get discouraged because you can't do the thing. You can't do like 30 push-ups in a row. You gotta aim lower than that.
so you're not going to go with the One Punch Man workout and do the 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 10K run every single day.
So funny you mentioned that because this is a minor tangent. I have a folder on my desktop that is for a like cosplay Twitter thread thing, and I was like getting cosplay reference pictures for cosplays I have either done or want to do, and I was looking for a nice reference picture for Guts from Berserk if I ever wanted
Yes.
to do that cosplay. Because the Berserk Muso game has a really nice high res, high detailed reference picture, full body head to toe of him. And so I did that Google search for him, and I see an article that's like the Guts workout, get in shape like Guts from Berserk, and I'm just like, I gotta read this. I gotta see what kind of crazy bullshit they're on. And I read it, and it is just like you gotta do this. You gotta do like a weighted uphill jog and like crazy stuff like that. And I was like,
Well,
yeah, I ain't doing this.
just how heavy is
Um,
his sword again? Like a couple 100 pounds? He's slinging that thing around like it's nothing?
I don't know if it's ever canonically said how heavy it is. Other than like the famous line of like it was much too big to be called a sword kind of thing.
A slab of a slab of raw iron. Like I'm sure someone could take the dimensions of it and math how heavy it would be based on the properties of iron. Taking into account.
Yeah,
like,
we also have you also have like the Man at Arms guys that literally made a real one, and so however heavy theirs was is probably how heavy it would be.
yeah.
I appreciate the vote of confidence, June. I'm really hoping I can make it happen.
Yeah. Our chat over here is sending nothing but support. So yes, you can do this.
Yeah, so that's why I'm tired today, and that was one of the first things I wanted to talk about tonight.
All right. So where we? Oh wait. Hold up. Let me catch up my chat. Sir Isaac says. Actually, reminds me. Did Noctis cosplay for the con I went to last month? Shared pickups from. Oh, nice. If you feel comfortable sharing the pictures of your cosplay in our Discord server, then I'd like to see it at least. But no pressure. I know not everyone wants to post pictures of themselves to strangers on the internet.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I realized recently I was having a conversation about this in like the Square Enix cosplay Discord that Noctis is voiced by Ray Chase, and the person was talking about meeting him at a con, and I'm like, oh, I sure hope he comes back around to a con in the southeast pretty soon. Like if he was a Dragon Con guest, I would absolutely go meet him.
Ooh, I need to redeem this soon. Sorry. This is we're talking about games here in a little bit, and I ordered myself a copy of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: Eyes of Heaven for PS4. It came in, and I opened the package like just now, and like it's the PS4 game, and it comes with day one DLC, and it says is good until January 7th, 2026. So I need to get that installed and downloaded soon before it expires.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that game today for whatever reason.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I've been on a bit of a minor JoJo kick lately because we just finished part 5, Golden Wind, and so far I think it's giving Stardust Crusaders a run for its money in terms of which one I think has been the best arc so far. Mm-hmm. And Rio and I have been doing some. I don't know if you know this, CJ. On our channel, we have a segment we call Fight Night Friday, where we will like record ourselves doing PvP in numerous games, and then we'll just post our reactions and thoughts, and of course us fighting each other. And we're doing JoJo here soon. They got like 3 or 4 fighting games to their name. We've already got the segment for the PS1 game recorded, and I got the PS3 version of All-Star Battle. I just haven't unlocked all the characters yet. And of course, All-Star Battle R, the remake, is on Switch. So I've been playing through those, trying to get us ready to record those and release them all in sequential order.
That's pretty cool. So it's funny you mention that, because the reason why I was thinking about that JoJo game today was I was thinking about stuff to suggest in the future if we did decide to turn this into like a podcast type of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was thinking about, I guess this would be a spoiler for anybody who is listening who if this does end up being a thing we do one day. But one of the things I thought about was we should do a challenge where we both agree to learn a new fighting game that neither of us know, and we train ourselves up over a period of months to then like fight each other in person in that fighting game. And we don't tell each other which character we're maining. We just like train it in private, and then when we meet up, we fight.
Right. Well, I guess that kind of goes with something else that Rio and I have been doing off screen, because we're gonna like unload these once we're finished with all of them. We've been doing Dissidia Duodecim Final Fantasy, and the way we decided to do it was we took the roster, removed Feral Chaos from it because he makes an odd number of characters. We each got half the roster, and we were doing like 3 versus 3 every week. And I had to learn how to play Jekt. And I don't know if you played Dissidia, but Jekt is incredibly difficult in Dissidia, and he's even harder in Duodecim because while he only has like 2 commands to start his combos, all the combos from there are based on tiny timing windows and directional tilts to finish the combo in a meaningful way.
You can't do it, kid, because I'm the best.
You cannot button mash. It's not a thing of press the button until you hit the magic pixel. No, it's you either hit it or you don't. It's that simple. I did manage to pull off a few select combos and actually finish them to completion, so I'm proud of myself for that, considering that I have like a blood feud with this character in Dissidia Duodecim specifically. I haven't even played Final Fantasy X yet, but Jekt is the bane of my existence in Dissidia.
That's really funny.
I know it's funny for you because like FF10 is one of your favorites. I don't know if I told you the story. Yes. I've told the story to others at some point on the channel, but I'll give you the rundown later. Long story short, Jekt made my life very difficult for a while, and so trying to learn him now, I feel like that's some way of me getting some closure on that from, back 10, 12 years ago, however long it's been.
Well, listen, getting closure for Jekt making your life difficult is literally what Final Fantasy X is all about.
Well,
that's the game in a nutshell.
Right? Yeah, because I do know some spoilers about his role in the story. Not a ton. I just know that he's got the coolest song in the game.
Yeah.
Actually, Otherworld or Battle with Seymour? That's a hard one.
Yeah, it is a
Okay,
hard one, but since they play basically back to back, you get them all kind of in the same sequence in the game.
okay, fair. Um,
Um, but and just a quick thing about that. So I have played very very little of Dissidia. I own I was about to say both of them. I know there's more than two of them, but
three.
for all intents and purposes, there's the PSP ones because I don't think people really played the new one very much, did they?
No, because it was hot garbage. It was so bad that Rio and I, we waited on this thing. We were salivating for it. Then we get it, and we do like one video on it. We look at each other, we're like, this ain't it. We took it back to GameStop the next day. We were that crushed by it. Yeah, that hurt especially bad because Dissidia is one of the pillars of our friendship. We became friends because of the Dissidia series. And
Wow, I didn't realize it was that bad.
it's a slap in the face. I actually someday if I can find it for like $15 or less, I do plan to buy it again so that I can make a video tearing into it. And I can't go into all the details of it now because that would require me to go into the intricate details of Dissidia and Dissidia Duodecim, so that way you know why it's bad by comparison. And honestly, it's not even just bad by comparison, it's just bad on its own. Like, the absolute most egregious thing about it is that it works kind of like Fate Grand Order, to where you have a certain amount of points you can spend to play a mission, and then you have to wait for those points to recharge before you can play the next mission. If I'm remembering correctly. So it's like, yeah, we played like 2 missions of story mode. Oh, you have to wait for this to recharge. Okay, why? Oh, just because.
That's weird.
And I'm like, this is a home console PS4 game that is not a gacha hell. Like, yes, I get it's an adaptation of an arcade, but what the actual heck were you doing with this, Squeenix?
Yeah, and like arcade fighting games don't have that as a like arbitrary block to where you can't play the single player mode.
And there was
except
no
on a cooldown.
And there was no local multiplayer either, which, I mean, fair enough considering that Dissidia is an arena fighter, so it's really hard to play that with 2 players. Like, I'm amazed that Power Stone and Battle Assault 3 managed to pull that off, but with Dissidia, given how big and wide the battle arenas are, and that a lot of characters focus on keeping your distance, I can understand why you wouldn't be able to have both of those on the same screen. I get it. But,
yeah.
Let me check my chat right quick.
One quick thing about Ject, though. So, without spoilers, because you will hopefully one day play this game. There is definitely some nuance to Ject, because at the beginning of the story, they basically, you get the impression of like, this guy is a jerk. He's a deadbeat dad. He abandoned his family, yada yada, and that is technically true. Like, he is a bit of a bastard and a bit of a deadbeat, but you do learn through some cutscenes that are kind of off the beaten path that he did grow a little bit and he did kind of redeem himself, but it's kind of too little too late in the eyes of the people that he hurt. So he's kind of just like, all right, I know I'm a terrible person and I deserve what's coming. So let's just get on with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's a great story.
Let me catch up my chat right quick. So Isaac says that Eyes of Heaven code, it lets you get Par 4 JoJo by paying if the code doesn't work. Okay, so I'll get Josuke. Or maybe Par 4 Jotaro. I'm not sure. There's like 3 JoJos in that part. He's got All-Star Battle R. Pretty fun. Yes, I absolutely agree. I love Abakio's ultimate. His Giga Heat attack is like my favorite in the entire game. Bree says, instead of playing fighting games in person, we should just fight in person. Like 1v1 right now. Bree over here with the jokes. Glad he didn't make you eject the game.
Well, was it Bree saying we should just fight each other?
Yes.
I mean, we could, but like, I don't think neither of us know any martial arts. So it would just be like a street fight, and then one of us is definitely going to get hurt because we don't know what we're doing, right?
It's going to be that scene from SpongeBob. Who's fighting? They're talking about us. We're fighting. Well, don't mind if I do. And they're just swinging their arms and not hitting anything. That's what it's going to be. Or on my end, Snorlax used Body Slam. I missed. Okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jotaro. Part 3 and Part 4 Jotaro are different. Yeah, Jotaro has like 5 costume changes throughout Part 4. And he's got some different abilities in between the two. Yeah, like after Part 3, he never used Starfinger again. Bree saying we should just lightsaber duel. Yeah, I can live with that.
Yeah, that we can definitely do.
Alright, so after we get done with our Dissidia Fight Night series, we're gonna do a couple more videos on it, playing with mods turned on. Of course, the only mods that we actually have, aside from just the typical Game Shark codes of, oh, you have infinite of this item, is there's a bunch of skin mods that people have made for some of the characters, and a lot of them fit really well and are pretty awesome. Like, one that I've seen is replaces Cloud with Guts from Berserk. There's a bunch of Mega Man skin mods. There's replaces... crap, I'm having trouble thinking of it.
So are you having to play Duodecim on like an emulator for this, or are you able to like mod your PSP kind of thing?
Playing it on the Steam Deck, just because it's easier to get the mods on that way. I have physical copies of the game, and I have played them on PSP and recorded them on PSP, but to get higher video quality, recording them off Steam Deck is just so much easier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But there's been a lot of really cool skin mods, and I was thinking one that would be absolutely fantastic, no one has done yet, and I wish they would. I would do it if I knew how. A skin mod for Jecht that replaces him with the Burning Gundam. Because in Dissidia, yes, he carries the shovel blade. I think that's what his sword is called. He carries that big sword. But he's a brawler. He'll sooner punch you in the face and kick you across the battlefield before he'll slash you. And
yeah.
One of his moves is Triumphant Grasp, where his hand catches on fire, he grabs you, and then makes you explode. I'm like, that's just erupting burning finger. Just give this man a Burning Gundam skin and we're good.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Their voice lines for Part 6 Jotaro in Eyes of Heaven, they're on YouTube, they just aren't seeable in the game without hacking. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I have noticed that in All-Star Battle as well, or All-Star Battle R, they don't have Part 6 Jotaro either. I guess they didn't want to have 3 identical characters with nearly identical movesets, because Jotaro's skill set doesn't really increase that much in between parts. Like, he gets, like, one new move, and it gets, like, stronger or weaker depending on the part. But Star Platinum's toolkit is, like, relatively really small.
So really quick, what fighting games have you played? Let's put it that way.
The majority of my fighting game experience comes from fighting games tied to IPs that I care about and less mainstream fighting games. And that's not because I'm a hipster. It's because I am not good at fighting games. So fighting games that
I'm not either.
Fighting games that I have played and I'm halfway decent at, I would say Gundam Battle Assault 2, Gundam Battle Assault 1, and 3, if you want to count that as a fighting game. It's like an arena fighter with some beat-em-up elements. Basically the entire Battle Assault series, like 1, 2, 3, Seed, and Seed Destiny. And I'm adequate at that. I dabble with JoJo Heritage for the Future and All-Star Battle R, Dissidia Duodecim. I play Marvel vs. Capcom and like that whole line of Capcom and Marvel crossover games. I'm not going to claim to be good at them. I just enjoy them. Because like I love the novelty of it all. But I've dabbled in a little bit of Street Fighter. I play Smash Bros. I played the occasional old school Mortal Kombat, like the SNES games. Aside from that, not really a lot. Like I'm not Evo ready. I wouldn't last 2 minutes. I wouldn't even get through the qualifiers at Evo. Mostly because
I'm not generally a big fighting game fan in the sense that they take so much time to really learn, and the way in which you learn them is like there's so many different pillars to learning a fighting game, because it's like there's not just the basic mechanics of the specific game that you learn through like the tutorial. Like There's more than learning what the buttons do. There's learning like the spatial reasoning between your character and the other person's character, um, the timing of attacks, the distance of movement and abilities and stuff like that. Matchups where one character may have an advantage or a disadvantage against another character, and what the other character can do to you. Um, and then there's like just combos and stuff where most of the time from what I've seen, the games like don't prepare you to actually learn how to play it competitively. It's a very much a like community built thing where the game only holds your hand so far, and then you have to find this extra layer of learning outside the game itself to even figure out what you're doing before you can even play it competitively. And that's something I kind of bounce off of. Ironically enough, something that is very similar to that is the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, which is something that I do enjoy, but I have the luxury of having played it since it first came out. But people usually say that Yu-Gi-Oh is like the fighting game of card games for that reason, in that it's not newcomer friendly, and the gulf of difference between what the game itself teaches you to do and the actual experience of playing it competitively are just completely night and day different. And um, there's also the thing of like the timing tolerance for like button inputs in fighting games is very, 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 very tight. Like you're talking about a difference of frames, um, like half inputs on D-pads and analog sticks and stuff like that is something that is very unique to fighting games that doesn't translate into other genres, and so it's something you kind of have to learn for fighting games itself. June is saying in chat, fighting games do end up being easier to learn as you put more hours and effort into them. A basic knowledge of 2D fighters from Street Fighter 2 will still be relevant in modern games like Guilty Gear and Street Fighter 6.
Yes, I can attest to that, because even though I'm a complete scrub at most fighting games, like whenever Rio and I do a Fight Night Friday with a game that neither of us have really played before or dabbled in much, like we did Tsukihime, or not Tsukihime, Melty Blood, and I got the footage for that. I still gotta put the video together, but pretty much any new fighter I pick up, I start with the Street Fighter inputs. I'm like, okay, down forward punch. Does that if either projectile? Does that do something else? Okay, that's something else. Half circle back punch. Quarter circle strong punch, and I just try to go from there. So it gives you a foundation to build on. So yes, I absolutely agree with that point.
Yeah, and so I know all these things, but I want to try to learn at least one or two, and so it's like I kind of have to pick the one that is going to be the like pet project if I do decide to do that.
Yes.
And ironically, the fighting game I've put more hours into than any other is Fate Limited Codes. Funny enough.
I believe it.
But even then, I still wouldn't say I'm good at that either. I have a lot of affection for more of the Japanese 2D fighters than anything else. I love BlazBlue and Guilty Gear, but I wouldn't say that I've really put in the time to like learning either of them. Most people that I tried to play BlazBlue with would just hand me my ass and I wouldn't learn anything. And then the most current Guilty Gear I have is still Xrd. I don't have Strive yet. And but those are series that I love. Like I love the character designs, I love the music, I love generally how they control for the most part. And so I would Juna's saying that Xrd Revelator 2 is better than Strive. I believe it. I'm not sure which version of Xrd I have. I'll have to double check. But yeah, so one of those would be the one I'd likely want to pick up. But I also have, I think I have like I have the Capcom Classics collection that has Street Fighter 2 on it. I also have I have two of these. I think it's the PS2 Fatal Fury collections. I have both of those, and that would be fun to kind of pick up and learn one day.
Yeah. Um, I absolutely agree with you about the half inputs for certain fighting games, though. Button timing, just because you know what to push, the timing can be incredibly unforgiving. Like, again with Dissidia, I was talking about Ject earlier. It's an exact window for each specific combo. Either you hit it or you don't. There's an even tighter window for Aqua with her Cura ability. Because of how Dissidia works, it's not like an actual heal, it heals a different attribute. Cure, you can just button mash and spam and cast tiny heals over and over again. With Cura, if you pull it off, it casts one, but you get a huge heal from it. But I haven't been able to find the actual button timing online because every post I've seen has said, don't bother with it. It's not worth it. Just spam Cure, or just don't focus your build around the healing at all, because the timing is so tight that it's not even worth it. So you're talking about a lot of this is community led. This is one time when the community just said no, and they're like, no, we're not even putting the effort for this one specifically.
Yeah.
Another one is I was practicing JoJo Heritage for the future because I want to make a video on that. We've already done the fight night, just haven't posted it, but I want to do an actual review of that game because I got a lot to say about that game as a whole outside of just being a fighting game. But the timing for using time stop in the game, there's like one or two characters that have a time freezing ability, and I'm like, I'm punching in the inputs. I'm looking at the guide. I'm punching in the inputs. It's not working. Then I basically just have to roll my thumb across the control pad and whichever button is supposed to be in rapid succession, hoping I hit the magic window. And then I was like, oh, there it is. Okay, time stopped finally. So
yeah,
I absolutely agree. Fighting games is one of those where if you want to get good at just fighting games in general, you definitely got to sink in a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's not impossible to learn, but it's not. No other genre of games prepares you for the specific tactile feel of fighting games, if that makes sense. It's like you kind of have to spend time in fighting games to play fighting games. It's a what the controls are asking you to do is very specific to that genre, and other genres don't really prepare you for it.
And you got to learn each character-specific quirks as well, because with Ject, it's a matter of timing, and the best way you can train yourself with timing is to look for a visual or possible audio cue. So, where in the character's voice line for this move do you need to press the button? Where in the character's animation do you need to press the button, etc.?
Yeah.
Let me.
I want to respond really quick to June. He's saying we can play Fatal Limited Codes over PCSX2. If I can get that running on my Steam Deck, I would love to do that. I will look into that at some point.
It's incredibly simple. As for online play, I don't know, but yes, I could literally drag and drop it right now and have it running. You just need.
That's awesome.
Let me check on my chat. Sir Isaac says, considering how far modding's come, hope more people try to mod new characters into Dissidia. On that point, I have seen characters have done custom animations, someone put Fairy Leviathan from Mega Man Zero into the game. Her intro and outro animations mirror that of Emperor Palamecia because he's a magic user and he's very floaty, he kind of hovers around, and he carries a magic staff, and his victory pose is him sitting on nothing. But with all of the mod character's attacks, it's all Tidus. Because in Duodecim and Dissidia 1, Tidus has that fish sword that's got bubbles coming out of it, and Leviathan is a water-based rep play. I haven't played the game. I don't know what it's called. It looks like a fish.
Yeah, it is a water-based sword. It's called the Brotherhood sword, right. I think.
But it's all of his moves, and they gave it to Leviathan. But her movement. And bear in mind, this is a 3D game. They had to code the model to do all this. So the movement animations are Emperor Palamecia, or Emperor Mateus, whichever you prefer. But the actual battle animations and all the attacks are Tidus. Second half of that comment was, movesets ported from other CyberConnect games into Naruto Ninja Storm. Where's the Dissidia love? Okay, Sir Isaac, you actually answered a question I had outside of this stream, because I've been watching some JoJo fighting game move comparison compilations where it's here's that move in Eyes of Heaven, here's that move in Heritage for the Future, here's that move in All-Star Battle, here's that move in Naruto Ninja Storm, and I'm like, Wait, did JoJo characters make a cameo in that game? Because I knew they were in Jump Force, but I didn't expect Gold Experience Requiem to show up and just infinite Muda, Sasuke in the face. I'm like, what's he doing here? So I guess that explains it. If the game has similar architecture, they can just port it over. Looking over at you, Transformers Devastation, Senator Armstrong, Megatron over there.
Oh yeah.
Understandable that we don't get Part 6 Jotaro, but it would have been cool to have 3 versions of the same guy. Yeah, it would have been cool, but there's other characters who I feel like should have been in the game but weren't yet. Do the same thing in the new fighter, relatable. Love 2D sprite games, games like Aquapaza, Million Arthur, Arcana Blood, Dengenki, Bunko. Sorry, I couldn't tell if there was an R there or not. Dengeki Bunko, Fighting Climax, and some that you're not thinking of. Yeah, I always value 2D fighting games over 3D ones just because they look better. Like, I love 2D sprites. There's so much personality that goes into sprite work and animation. You just don't get quite the same with most 3D model games. Like, not all of them. You'll find some where there's an exception, but in general, I prefer 2D to 3D. But that's just me.
Yeah, and some of the 2D sprite fighters look awesome, and it's crazy to think, like, again, if you look back at like the original Blaze Blue, I remember when that game first came out and all the hype around it was like, wow, this is like the best looking 2D fighter that there's ever been in terms of like the quality of the sprites. And if you look at it now, it looks a little bit primitive, but no, it was like people were insanely hyped about how good that game looked when it first came out.
Yeah, it was kind of like how Donkey Kong Country looked back on the SNES, with its like pseudo 3D looking, halfway photorealistic, but also still cartoony graphics that somehow dodged the uncanny valley. Like,
yeah, I don't know that everybody necessarily loves that look though, but it is like a very unique thing to that game. Or to that trilogy, I guess.
I will say that half of it only works because the backgrounds leaned into the more photorealistic style than cartoony style. Like, if you were to pluck Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country and slap him into Super Mario World, ooh, that would not look good.
Yeah.
But the background also really helped with making it seamless and making it look good, able to port movesets from Eyes of Heaven ASBR into Ninja Storm 4 connections, along with Dot Hack Versus and the Demon Slayer games. Wow, people over here are cooking in the anime fighter mod community. I didn't even know about this.
I forgot that Dot Hack Versus was a thing. Oh, you know what I'm kind of curious to. Well, I probably missed my chance for this, but I was always curious about the Kill la Kill fighting game that they made, because they made it like years after the anime was ever relevant, and it didn't have great reception. But now it's I think it's kind of a cult fan base game. I recently saw a Switch copy of it in the wild for way too much money, so it might be like one of those collectible games now, and my chance to get it for an affordable price is long gone. But I was kind of curious to own that. But I do have some gimmicky like anime fighting games that are not, some of which are not great. I have, especially because I have the PS2 swap disc thing, where I can play imported copies of Japanese PS2 games. So I have the Soul Eater fighting game. I have
wait. Soul Eater had a fighting game?
Battle. Yeah. I'm gonna grab my copy of it real quick.
Why is this the first time hearing of this? Like, I was big into Soul Eater back in the day. Jeez. I feel cheated. Makes me want Cyber Connect 2 just to make an official game with those characters in it, since it's possible to mod characters and stages into Ninja Storm. Yeah, let's get a Jump Force 2. Just rope in all the characters. Or Multiversus, but it's anime. And, the support actually lasts instead of getting abandoned.
Okay, sorry, my headphones got caught on something as I sat back down. Yeah, so it's called, I don't know if you can see on my stream, Caleb, but Soul Eater Battle Resonance is what it's called.
I don't have a tab with yours pulled up because the audio would make a feedback loop in my stream unless I mute it.
I see. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
But
From what I've played of it, it's not great. I don't
oh
love it. I've only played it like maybe twice. Um, it's cool for what it is. I think I had it set up. One time there was like a Halloween party at my house,
yeah,
and I had it set up with with Melty Blood and some other games around that time. But I wouldn't say it's good. I also have the Evangelion Battle Orchestra, which is again sounds really cool. It's basically a Ava Smash clone, if I remember correctly. Like it is surprisingly goofy for a fighter based on Evangelion.
now, I tell you a couple of fighting anime fighters that are absolute garbage, and I hope people got fired for this one. Before we had Dragon Ball Z Budokai, we had Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22/27 and Dragon Ball GT Final Bout.
Mm-hmm.
Woof. Okay, I at least like the sprite style of Ultimate Battle 22, and if you put in a cheat code, you can unlock 5 additional characters. But it had this weird system to where you would move up and be off the arena, like you could take the fight to the air, like they do in the anime a lot, but that made it really disjointed when trying to land any hits. GT played almost identically to this, but it was done with 3D models instead, and the controls were even worse. Like, Rio and I played those years ago. Like, it's been a very, very, very long time. I've been kind of wanting to revisit them and do like an actual proper review breakdown of what exactly is wrong with each game. But yeah, those were some of the worst fighting games I've ever played. And then the next week we followed up with Battle Assault 2. And then I'm like, we actually get a good fighting game this week. And Rio was like, it better be good. Those last two were your games.
Yeah, I have a few others. So there's actually quite a bit of Zoids fighting games. There's a Japanese one in the GameCube called Full Metal Crash, which I actually have barely played, and but it is like a franchise that has a lot of fighting games. I remember back in the day when G4 had X-Play, which now is a show that people look back on with a bit of notoriety because a lot of the reviews have not aged well, and there was a lot of like.
What do you mean aged? They weren't good back then.
Anti-Japan hatred for no reason, like a lot of like mean-spiritedness towards Japanese games. It was completely unwarranted, with some casual racism thrown in as well. And but I remember they like absolutely dunked on the Zatch Bell fighting game. Do you remember that was a thing?
I didn't know anything outside of Zatch, like the anime for Zatch Bell existed.
Yeah,
manga game too, obviously, but like, because like after it aired on like 4Kids or whatever, I have heard nothing about it since. Like if I see it represented at cons, I don't recognize it because I never got the chance to watch it. But the only thing I recognize from it is the puppet. That's like the only thing that I know from it. So
yeah, there was I think it was AWA 2019, I want to say. There was like a whole ass Zatch Bell group of cosplayers there, and one of our roommates like saw them from the balcony, and so I think our like group chat for that year was briefly nicknamed to the Cult of Zatch Bell.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I don't think I ever saw the anime though from back then, if I remember correctly.
Right. Well, talking about 4Kids, when I eventually get around to watching One Piece, it's gonna be the 4Kids dub, just because I wanna experience it how I did back in the day. I want to see the completion, or at least what they completed. And
I don't know how far that one went. I would imagine it was probably like 2 seasons, maybe.
100-ish episodes. I don't know how far that is in the grand scheme of things, considering there's like 1,000 episodes or 1,000 chapters or something. It's too colossal of an undertaking for me when my backlog is already longer than I will live. So,
yeah.
2 Zatch Bell fighting games. One's Smash-like, and the other one is a more traditional 3D fighter, according to Sir Isaac over here.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, and it's been like 20 years, but if I remember correctly, this was the uh, the conventional 3D fighter style one, not the Smash style one.
Yeah. So it looks like Rio and I got a couple of curiosities to look into for our fight nights after we go through our current lineup.
Yeah, I also really need to play more of the Fist of the North Star fighting game that was made by Arc System Works.
Yeah.
Because I finally got a copy of it, played a little bit of it for the Fist of the North Star Muso video. But it's surprisingly very hard. Like the AI just playing it out of the box arcade mode, AI does not fuck around. Like they will kill you pretty easily if you're not on your game. So that game has a bit of a learning curve from what I've experienced. But I do want to put time into that one and see how far I can get because it's pretty fun. It's hilariously unbalanced. There's a lot of like basically instant kill attacks, which is kind of makes sense for the lore.
Yeah,
But it has all of the appropriate cheese for that franchise.
So, there's this like talking about like lore accurate fighting game moves that make it funny. There's one move in All Star Battle R. It's based on this one clip from the JoJo manga. So, someone is antagonizing Part 4 JoJo, Josuke. He has like a long range ability, but it turns out that the guy who is using said power is holed up in the hospital because he was in a motorcycle wreck and like he's in a body cast. Josuke finally pulls up to his hospital bed and is ready to beat the snot out of him, and he's like, well, "You can't punch me. I'm in a body cast." Plot twist: Josuke's ability is to fix things, so he throws a punch. When the punch connects, it fixes all the guy's bones. He's like, "Oh hey, I'm healed," and Josuke's like, "Yeah. So now that you're feeling a lot better, I won't feel bad about kicking your ass." And it just beats the snot out of him, and then the narrator just says, his hospital stay was extended.
That's amazing.
They took that and put it in All-Star Battle R as one of his moves, to where visually it shows that your opponent's health gauge has gone all the way back to the top. Effectively, it doesn't, though, because it'll still knock off however much damage the attack is going to do. It says, "It's not cheating if I heal you first." But this is where it gets bad. This is where it gets like hilarious, but in a bad way. Part 7 JoJo, Johnny Joestar. It's I don't think this is too big of a spoiler because most people who know JoJo already know this, but he is paralyzed from the waist down, and in the fighting game he's on a horse most of the time. But you can knock him off of his horse if you catch him in that animation, because it's rigged to like other 3D characters. He will stand up. So it's like Josuke healed his legs, and then Josuke just broke his legs again instantly.
Oh, wow. And that's not intentional, right?
No, I don't think it was intentional, and I'm pretty sure they actually patched it out in a recent update. Someone said they did. I'll have to double check, but that's just one thing I find hilarious, but also incredibly bad. I'm like, oh, poor guy.
That's very funny.
He's like, I just got them back, please. Let's see here. Fist of the North Star game. Not even Fist of the North Star fan yet, but the game looks pretty sick. Oh yeah, I think anime games are a great gateway to the actual series itself. Like Heritage for the Future, that JoJo game, that is actually the first bit of JoJo media to ever come out here in the United States. It predates the earliest release of the manga that was localized. It predates the localization of the OVA. So if your very first experience with JoJo here in the United States was Heritage for the Future for PS1, that is a dang good way to get into it, because outside of just being a pretty decently fun fighting game, it is a good manga adaptation, because it hits all the major plot points. You go through the story chapters as the appropriate characters, and they even give you like special unique game modes for the different story beats. Like there's one where the characters have to get shrunk down microscopic size, and you have to like go inside someone's body and kill the monster that's in there. And they turn that into a 2D space shooter, like Gradius or Life Force. There's one where they can't get close to this guy, so they just throw a rock at him from across the battlefield. It turns into like a POV, like drag your cursor, first-person shooter, like one of those point and clicks back in the day. It turns into that for like one or two missions. There's a couple of quick time events. There's one where this person's got like a zombie army, and while it still looks like the fighting game, it's more of a beat 'em up because it's like get rid of this many zombies before you can attack the boss. That kind of stuff. They put in a ton of effort into making this a faithful game based on a manga before the anime even existed. And again, this was available like way before the anime came out. So if you were like, if this was someone's first exposure to JoJo back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then they were a fan for the long time until the anime like got made in like 2012 or whenever, I can absolutely see this as a great jumping on point. And I got a lot of respect for the game for being like that.
So what's funny about that is that
yep, it was published by Capcom. I forgot about that, Sir Isaac. Yep, Capcom. Yeah, back when Capcom was good.
Talking about
as a jaded Mega Man fan, I say that.
Talking about bad video game reviews as well. Like I mentioned, G4 reviewing like the Zatch Bell game.
Yeah.
That JoJo game, being again the first piece of JoJo media to be localized, was reviewed on another G4 show, the one with Tommy Tallarico. I think it was Electronic Playground or Judgment Day. I think it was Judgment Day. And there's like a really infamous clip of Tommy Tallarico being like, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, this game is terrible, the story makes no sense, and the characters are all stupid. And it's like, that's not a take that will age particularly well. Of course, God forbid you tell him that this series would be, if you told him the series was profitable, he would just to change his mind immediately, right?
Yeah, it reminds me, I don't know if you saw that little short video I did like a year or two ago where I found someone give an absolute garbage, bad faith take on the first Mega Man Battle Network game. Now, it's like, if you don't like the game, that's one thing. But in the magazine that reviewed it, they didn't even show outside the second room of the game, and the screenshots that they had posted and were poking fun of it. Like, it showed main character with the dialogue box that just had ellipses, and it said, yeah, this is you. You're quite the conversationist. You need to slow down. The rest of us can't keep up. And I'm like, I don't care for your sarcasm, sir. And there's a lot of stuff that they just blatantly got wrong in the review. I'm like, it's clear you didn't play past the first mission. And
sometimes nowadays, review publications will refuse to publish reviews that are evidence to be lazy or not indicative of the product. Like if somebody clearly like rushed through their review and didn't engage with the media correctly, they will like take down the review. I've seen that happen a couple times.
Yeah, like that one guy who didn't get past the tutorial in Cuphead. But like the end of that Mega Man article said,
I think that was one of those.
Yeah, the end of that Mega Man article said, our final verdict is that this game will ultimately be forgotten. And I'm like, yeah, I find this article 20 years later when the Battle Network collection is coming out in like a month. And how long did your magazine last? You got 6 issues. Big talk. Big talk, sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I basically spent like half that video dunking on that review. It was only like a minute and a half long, but yeah. I have no patience for bad faith, like, critiques of media just in general.
Yeah, speaking of bad faith critiques of media, can I segue into one of the topics I wanted to talk about tonight? One of the pieces of media I've consumed over the last couple of months.
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
So have you seen? I'm sure you would have told me if you have, but have you seen the James Gunn Superman?
I haven't yet, but I've been told by like 3 or 4 different people that I really need to watch it. I know it's got Nathan Fillion, Gunnery Sergeant Buck, my man, as Guy Gardner, and I'm like, more Green Lantern's always good with me. So I definitely want to watch it. I just haven't had time. It's been a very busy last couple weeks. Like we had a con last week. This week was insanely busy. Bills come out at the beginning of the month, so we're like, movie later.
Yeah, so I won't spoil anything plot-wise in that case, but I will kind of give you my general thoughts. I wrote a text review for it on the Blogger account.
Yeah.
But I really liked it a lot. We've talked about DC before, you and I, and I've made the case that I've never been like the biggest DC fan, but among DC properties, I feel like Superman is my guy, which is kind of a hot take nowadays because a lot of people don't like him or are just kind of indifferent to him because they think the idea of this pure archetype of somebody who is supposedly uh, perfect and good and altruistic at all times is like just not compelling or not believable kind of thing.
Secretly,
But
they're all Dragon Ball fans who are mad that Goku lost to Superman 3 different times on Death Battle, so they're all just jaded.
right. Yeah, that's the. I'm surprised I haven't heard that as being people review bombing the new movie. But anyway, so I like the sort of cheesy, unrealistic, out of touch with reality, sort of blind optimism of Superman stories, and they're not all like that. But I think the idea of the character is somebody who tries to do the right thing in spite of
Everything.
everything, just all types of adversity. And so like I had this conversation with some friends that saw it with me where it's like, look, Batman doesn't kill people because
He's not supposed to.
he
At
is
least.
imperfect. He doesn't kill people because if he were to kill somebody, he would it would be too easy for him to do it again, and he would lose sight of his principles, his discipline, etc. And that's not meant to be a good thing about Batman. That is actually a character flaw of Batman, and it's something that they critique often in his stories. And but with Superman doesn't kill people because he is perfect. Batman doesn't kill people because he's not perfect. Superman doesn't kill people because he is perfect.
So,
And
I feel like that's actually a good that kind of mindset is a good way to approach a case study on the characters. Because I was gonna make a recommendation for you. You like Superman stories? The whole thing of Mr. Perfect has to stay perfect in an imperfect world. One angle I was gonna approach it from: Superman versus the Elite. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's got my favorite DC anti-hero / villain, depending on what media he's in, Manchester Black. He calls himself an aspiring do-gooder, but he's like the Red Hood to Superman, to where he wants to stop the bad guys, but he's not afraid to kill them. And Superman is like, we're not the law, we don't get to be judge, jury, and executioner. And Manchester's like, yeah, but how many people died in that explosion just now? That could have been stopped if we had used our powers and killed him 10 seconds earlier. And
yeah,
and then we got the thing of Batman in Under the Red Hood, like when
yes.
Jason says to him, why don't you kill the Joker after everything he did? And then Bruce says, it would be too easy. If I do this, there is no going back. And Jason is like, I'm not talking about shooting Two-Face or the Penguin or Poison Ivy. I'm talking about the Joker. Just the Joker. Just him. All the graveyards he's filled. And yet, then we get to when both characters should have reached their breaking points, ironically, because of the Joker. We got the Killing Joke, where the Joker actually fully expected Batman to kill him after everything he did, like to Barbara, to Jim, that whole setup. And it's open-ended as to whether or not you want to think Batman strangled the Joker or not. But he at least doesn't immediately kill the Joker after he catches him. And then we got Injustice, where the Joker forced Superman to kill Lois Lane due to, the gas that he hit him with caused him to hallucinate. Superman just walks up and donuts him, like an anime character, just done, instantly. Both of them got pushed to their breaking point. Superman cracked first.
Yeah, and under the Red Hood was actually going to be the piece of media I was going to mention, Corey's here in chat who mentioned it as well, where it's like his Batman villains keep coming back and making things worse, and it's like for him not to come up with a permanent solution, you could argue he is enabling it. He is enabling further deaths by not putting people like the Joker out of their misery, and that is framed as a character flaw that is aimed as a critique of Batman in those stories.
Although, let's be real, the
And
fault here lies with the writers and the comic companies because we have to maintain the status quo. We have to constantly keep churning out new stories. We can't kill the character because we want to make more money.
yeah, but they handle that in a way that that gives the character some nuance, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they're like we can have even if that's the real reason, they can still have a meta criticism of what this means for the character. The other DC property that I'm knee deep into right now, as I've told you before, is the Cassandra Cain Batgirl comics on recommendation from my friend, and because Cassandra Cain is Batgirl in this follows the events of the Killing Joke and what happens to Barbara, and so Barbara's character is very there's a lot of bitterness and animosity there, and there's a lot of when you look at how Batman is portrayed in that as well, there's a lot of him like second guessing himself and trying to be perfect and not make mistakes. And you can tell the consequences of his actions have impacted him a lot up to that point. But yeah, so to come back to Superman, um, so I think the choice to again not have Superman kill people and have him have a lot of screen time of him saving people is the correct thing to focus on in a movie. And this new movie nails that. A lot of the time that he is on screen in fights, a lot of the shots are him swooping down to save a person, to save a dog, to save a squirrel in one instance. And that is more important to his character than your Zack Snyder. We just leveled four skyscrapers in a row because he and Zod just careened through four buildings back to back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could make the argument that, like in Man of Steel, it was hard for him to kill Zod, but he still did it. Like that we want to talk about that being of the fault of the writers. That's the fault of the writers because like to not try to give Superman a way out of that situation that doesn't involve him killing him is just it's a pretty important betrayal of his character. And the contrast in this movie like really exemplifies that in my opinion.
Counterpoint to the thing about Zod, I actually have two angles I want to approach it from. The first is that was the first time he had to fight a supervillain. So him killing him the first time and then letting out just that gut-wrenching scream after realizing that he was forced to do that, that had the potential to be a fantastic springboard to why he could build off his philosophy of I I don't need to kill someone with my intense strength because I'm the strongest person on this planet. I live in a world made of cardboard, and I was just forced to kill someone from Krypton. That's my home. And that could have been a great springboard. The problem is that in the very next scene, that entire moment is completely just tossed out the window. We needed time to see Superman, like, I don't know, brooding over it. We don't need to hear, like, an entire inner monologue, but we need to, like, show us through the visual medium that he is, like, wrecked by having to do that. Like, it should have had a bearing on his character development, especially if you're going to have him give that Colossus yell after doing so. So,
Yeah.
I don't think that the moment itself was necessarily bad. It just wasn't handled. It wasn't followed up well.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my tongue on that one until you've seen this new movie because I have to unpack more of what happens there for that to make sense.
Fair.
But yeah, I see what you mean.
Sir Isaac says,
But
Injustice Superman works because of the main universe. It's a shame that a lot of people know what a lot of people know in terms of Superman. Oh, I'm not saying that I'm against Superman having a breaking point. I actually quite like it when we get a series where we see what characters are capable of when they are pushed to their extremes. Because I feel like that's an interesting case study, and it's one of those things of where you need to be glad that the character isn't always broken. Like, be glad that they have that level of restraint. But I do enjoy seeing what's under the hood. I do enjoy seeing what makes them tick.
yeah,
Like,
I am.
yeah.
All right, June is heading out. It was good to hear from you, my friend. Take care. I will.
We'll be back next
I'll
week.
hit you up if I am able to get that emulator working on the Steam Deck. Um, So real quick as well, I am currently reading a Superman comic.
Yeah.
I'm reading All Star Superman, which I've been told by many different people is one of the best modern Superman stories. And are you familiar with this one?
I'm not, but it's got to be better than All Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder.
I wouldn't know, but
There's
this
a,
one
there's
is
a video that
about
Hugbee's made about it. Just go search it up when you get the chance.
yeah.
If
This
you've got
is
like an hour to blow.
yeah. This one is about um Superman has to rescue some explorers that are their expedition has got too close to the sun, so he basically has to like fly through the sun, and it like supercharges his cells to where his powers are increased, but his cells are not able to regenerate, and so he is slowly dying.
Ah,
And
the
so
Godzilla versus Destroya route.
it's basically a
Kind
story
of.
about if you had unlimited power and limited time, what would you do? What would the perfect person do with unlimited power but limited time? And the answer is you would just try to do as much quote unquote good as you possibly could. And so it's just this really, really heartfelt story about him doing kind things for people as much as he can. And it's something. Like I haven't finished it yet, but it's incredible. And then so that's kind of my expectation for Superman stories. And again, this movie I feel like nailed it with the tone. It is a lighthearted, colorful, hopeful movie where the themes are kind of just about doing good things, being optimistic, being compassionate, being empathetic. Those are just the themes of the movie. There's a scene where uh, most people that I have heard that have talked about the movie have talked about this scene, it's one of the ones that sticks out to me too. Without this is not a plot spoiler, so it's just a fun little uh, conversation. So Superman and Lois are talking, and I guess they get on the topic about music because Lois in this is kind of this she's kind of this tough independent city girl where she's got a lot of like street smarts. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
And so she's like, she's kind of this rough and tumble girl that can take care of herself. And so they're talking about music, and she's talking about like punk rock music, and Superman mentions all these bands that are just like more of your like radio pop kind of music, and she's like those aren't punk rock, you don't know what you're talking about. And then later on in the conversation he comes back to that by saying, well, maybe empathy is the new punk rock. And that line is what the movie is about. And it's true. It's just true because like in a world that is so nihilistic and so everyone for themselves right now in our current like political and social climate and everything, boy is it refreshing to be like, yeah, you know what? You can actually give a fuck about people that other than yourself, and that's kind of a rebellious thing to do in our current like political and social climate. And so, the idea of like empathy being punk rock is like actually true and accurate to our real world, and it really resonated a lot with me, and it resonated a lot with a lot of other people that watched the movie, and it's kind of the central thesis of the movie. The movie it's a anti-nihilism movie is what it is. And it definitely perked me up a little bit, and it had left me with kind of this optimistic, hopeful feeling. And I love the memes that are just like, it is this meme of Superman smiling where it's like the masculine urge to be a better person kind of thing, and I'm like, It's true. It's just true.
Again, I'd like to direct you to Superman versus the Elite because again, the thesis of being anti-nihilistic is kind of the same angle. Is like Manchester Black's over here. Oh, I know this. I can read minds. I know this villain's not going to change, so I'm just going to kill him right now. Where Superman's like, okay, I guess I got to put my boot down. There will be hope for the future. I will ensure it because I'm strong guy, and I'm going to prove that we don't have to resort to fatal violence. So it's yeah, similar thesis, yeah. Like there's more to it than that. Like that's not the central thesis of Superman versus the Elite, but that's at least a small layer of it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it was animated and animated quite well, I might add. Like I really like this one.
Yeah, most of the animated DC stuff I've heard good things about, except for the animated Killing Joke. I heard that was bad. And then All-Star Superman also has an animated movie adaptation that I also heard is not a good adaptation of the comic.
As someone who didn't read the Killing Joke comic, I didn't think the movie was bad, but I mean, thought it was okay at least. But I've only watched it and it's been like 10 years.
Yeah, the problems with the Killing Joke movie is what they add to it that was not in the comics that people have a problem with.
Oh yeah,
and I think
I'm never on board with Barbara Bruce shipping. I'm just not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not too big of an age gap, bro. Not.
Yeah,
not about that.
Yeah, but then there's also like there's a similar thing with apparently the animated All-Star Superman adaptation where it's just not regarded as a good adaptation of the comic, and reading the comic is the best way to consume that piece of media if you're curious.
Yeah, those types of adaptations do exist. Like The Hobbit over there.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly fun, entertaining movie, but it's a horrible adaptation.
Yeah. In the case of All-Star Superman as well, there are how I'm reading it is like a hardback collector's edition where the entire comic series is in one book, so it's like one book about that thick kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about hunting down like a million issues of a long-running series. It's pretty self-contained, which is ideal for me when it comes to comics.
I wish that we could get more of that for like a complete story run. I get that like so many comics are like 200 plus issues for a single story arc, and it's hard to do that. But the way I got into comics, at least DC Comics, was going to Books A Million, walking to the shelf, I see Green Lantern Blackest Night. I was like, okay, pick that up, let's read it. Okay, this is following Hal Jordan. Next to it we have Green Lantern Corps Blackest Night. It's following the side characters. Then we have Teen Titans Blackest Night. And just the compilations, because Blackest Night was like a universe-wide event. And we got to see what everyone was doing, but it was a very Lantern-centric story. And that's how I got hooked on the Lanterns. I got to see like everything that they could do, and all of their I feel like a good jumping on point for me to learn about them. Granted, I did miss a couple of things because they referenced Hal Jordan and Parallax's incident. They referenced Barry Allen's death from Crisis on Infinite Earths. But aside from that, you know, I thought it was done well enough. But each one was like a separate volume, and they weren't told exactly in chronological order because some events are done through crossovers. And
yeah,
like I hate that because later on I was trying to follow Guy Gardner when he took over the Red Lanterns, and then there's another event that happened, and it's like, oh, that happened over here in this Green Lantern issue. I'm like, but I'm reading the Red Lantern comics right now. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't make me jump back and forth.
Yeah, I think a lot of the modern comics series are doing that, and even so, I was reading I'm in the process of reading the IDW Transformers comics, the new ones, the new RID ones. You know which ones I'm talking about?
I thought the current series was Skybound. Is there a second series?
I don't know about the subtitle. I'll send you a link, or I'll show you the comics that I have. But it's the run that started last year.
The one
and
the one where Optimus gets Megatron's arm, right? I thought that one was called, yeah. That's a Skybound, I think, or that's what I
don't think the whole. I don't think the whole series is called Skybound. I'll double check though. I'm pretty sure it's just the new IDW RID. I think is what they've been calling it. But So they're doing some paperback compilations of those, and that's how I started reading it this year.
Okay.
If we haven't talked about that series,
I've got
oh my God, is it good?
all right. I've got the
Like,
Wikipedia page pulled up. It says that it's called Skybound because it's being published by Skybound Entertainment. After IDW Publishing lost the rights to produce Transformers and G.I. Joe comics by the end of 2022, Hasbro announced in June 23 that Skybound Entertainment and an imprint of Image Comics would acquire those licenses. In April 2025, Skybound opened a crowdfunding project on Kickstarter to release volumes 1 through 4 as a compendium set. It was successfully funded in 2 minutes. Fantastic. Main article,
okay, well,
Energon Universe.
I guess that is the same thing we're talking about then.
Don't feel bad because there's been several other comics that have been published or republished under different brands or brand names, but they were originally done by someone else. Like Star Wars comics, if you want to get into those, there will be like 2 or 3 runs of the exact same comic, all under different publishers because of who's had the rights over the years. Like the original, like the Darth Maul comics from like '99 were released by Dark Horse, and then they were re-released by Marvel as an independent, that like as a solo series. Then they were re-released as like part of a compilation called Shadows of the Sith or something like that. But I think it's like one of those things to where it's like some of the old guard might have worked on it or what have you. Yeah. So
anyway,
people can still conflate them. Either way.
So that series is really good. I could talk about that at length at another time or maybe later tonight. But it does that crossover thing you mentioned to where in the first paperback issue that I have, so like within the first 3 of the single comics, there's a scene with Starscream and some jet fighter pilots, and one of the jet fighter pilots like ejects and shoots a flare gun in Starscream's face, and it makes him run away. And this guy like survives with like some kind of like jetpack powered ejector seat parachute thing, and there's like a close-up shot of his uniform and his name, and it's one of the G.I. Joe characters. And then you see later on in the comic there's an ad for the spin-off comic about that character, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This like again teasing crossovers and sequel baiting and all kinds of stuff. And it's like this stuff is just endemic to comics, dude. I don't know how some people do it.
They did it at the end of Rise of the Beasts, and now we hear Michael Bay is back in charge of the next Transformers movie, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm ignoring that until we hear more about that. But again, side note, those comics extremely good. Like if I could remember everything from that first issue that I loved, I would go into it. But we can talk about that later, I guess. But before I talk about the next thing, did you have a piece of media from the last few months you wanted to share?
Not too in depth because I'm working on videos for them, but I have been keeping up with the Mega Man Timelines comics. And I do have a bit to say about Mega Man Timelines issue number 1. I don't know if you knew the release format they're doing, CJ. They said that they're going to release like 5 or 6 one-offs, each one following the main Mega Man from the core central timeline. That is Classic, X, Zero, ZX, Legends. Battle Network and Star Force are a separate timeline. They're not getting comics at this time. But they're doing one-off issues where it's like issue number 1, Mega Man Timelines. Issue number 1, Mega Man X Timelines. Mega Man Zero Timelines. ZX Timelines. Legends Timelines. Each one's issue number 1, and I've been keeping up with those. Apparently, the Mega Man X series has already been greenlit for a full comic run, and I'm super excited for that. And I'm also not surprised at all, considering that, as far as American fans are concerned, the 2 biggest ones that everyone wants more content from are X and Legends. So, like, Battle Network is the big one in Japan. X and Legends are the 2 here in America that the fans really want more content of, because most of them had, like, a halfway decent ending point, with the exception of ZX, because they teased a ZX3 that never happened. But I'm also looking at that, like, but that was announced before the comic was even released. Did they have that many pre-orders, or were they just that confident in it? But anyway, I've been keeping up with them, but I'm saving most of my thoughts for the full videos that I'm doing. I got the script written for the first video. I just haven't made time to record it for a variety of reasons. A lot of it just boils down to I'm just being lazy. I want to try to have that up in the next week or so. Um, Little funny side tangent. Just a little spoiler for y'all. So I've been shilling out for this one. Same I did with the Battle Network collection. I bought it on every platform it was available on, and I bought every cover variant directly from the vendor, Udon Comics. I bought every cover variant for Mega Man Timelines issue number 1. And one of them was just a solid white cover with just the Mega Man logo on it, and it is $2 more than at least two of the other cover variants that actually give us art. So that on its own, I'm like, this is sucker bait, and I fell for it. But to make it funnier, bear in mind, again, I got mine straight from the manufacturer. Like, straight from the publisher. Not from a third party, not from a local comic store. Got it straight from the publisher. It had a mark on it. Like a blemish. Like, it wasn't a print error, it's just like someone, like, smudged it, like, I don't know if it's like a thumbprint or what. There's like just a dark mark on the solid white cover. And I'm like, and it's $2 more than the others. I paid more money for the blank one, and it's got a blemish on it. So
I wonder if you could customer support that, because that sounds like something that they would, if you told them like, hey, my copy is messed up, I wonder if they could send you another one. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, I never planned to take this one out of the sleeve. My strategy here was buy multiple copies, only take out the like cheapest one and read it, and then keep the rest in their sealed like sleeves, and hope they appreciate and value one day, and sell them off eventually. But like, I honestly feel like this was just bad luck on my end. I'm not mad about it. Again, I find it funny because I am openly admitting to shilling and buying multiple copies to inflate sales, like artificially or what have you, if you want to call it that. And I take the obvious bait, buy the one that's more money, but it's less art, and it's got a blemish on it. I feel like I kind of deserve that for not being smart with the money, if that makes sense. As far as the X comics go, I've only gotten 2 covers so far because the series has already gotten full publication, and because it took so long for it to get to my house from the manufacturer, like a week after the comic was released, I decided I'm just going to bite the bullet and drive an hour to the nearest comic store because I don't have a local one. I'm just going to drive an hour there, pick up the comic day of, do my video like in the same week, and then buy the other cover variants later. X, I'm a little more lenient on now because, again, the entire thing's gotten published, and that was the reason why I'm doing this. But I'm really hoping that enough people will support the Legends comic. That's the one that has the awesome Transformers cover parody that I showed you. It's for the Legends timeline series.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that one does well enough that it will get its full series, and we might even get some new Legends content in the near future because we absolutely need Legends 3, or at the bare minimum, a Legends collection. I will say
the idea of new Mega Man Legends content over here is like unthinkable to fans, right?
I will say, as far as I don't want to diss on anyone's like artistic abilities because I can't draw. Like I could give you a stick figure, that's about it. The cover for Mega Man ZX Timelines, at least the main one that they keep showing whenever they got like the lineup of the comics, they got the zoom in shot of the protag. He looked goofy, like he looked straight up goofy.
I also have an order from Udon Comics coming. It's for the Shantae comics that they did. I saw those Mega Man ones on there, and it didn't click to me that we were talking about the same website.
Oh yeah, I saw the ads for the Shantae comics as well. I'm glad that Shantae is getting a little more recognition. I've only ever played the Pirate's Curse like for the 3DS, and I enjoyed it like pretty well. But I know that Shantae's got like her own cult following, and I'm glad that we're getting more content for her. So the fans are eating. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, I still consider. I mean, it's still an ongoing series because they just made the newest one this year, which was a strange like Shantae 1.5 kind of game because they made a from the ground GBA homebrew game that they actually shipped on GBA carts.
Spectacular.
And so. Yeah, it was awesome. I have it. I haven't played much of it. I'm still basically at the very beginning of it. but it plays good so far. I have a mostly affectionate relationship with that series. I like most of them. Um, Pirate's Curse is one of the best ones in my opinion, but Pirate's Curse is also a departure from the formula because you don't have her genie powers. You have the pirate gear, which makes the gameplay feel a lot different. So I definitely recommend playing Half Genie Hero, which is the fourth game. That is the best jumping on point to the series, in my opinion. It's a pretty forgiving side scroller, in terms of it has that NES level difficulty, but not the NES level like punishment for failure. You know how like NES games have like limited continues and no saves and password system and stuff like that.
Yeah, we like to relegate that to the NES era, but let's be real,
Yeah,
it was up through the N64 and PS1 as well. Like
yeah,
it
it's from
went
time to
way
time.
yeah, it was like popularized or not popularized, but it was standardized in arcades. I will actually say because if you didn't have another quarter, oh look at that, you're restarting, and then they
Yeah,
like for home consoles, yeah, it was standardized in the NES, and then now, or I say now, like it does survive all the way up to the PS1 era at least, because like I've been off and on recording gameplay footage for the Beast Wars games because we're both doing Transformers videos, and I'm playing the
hmm
PS1 Beast Wars game, and I eventually did manage to get like to the next level, but then I realized whenever one of your Maximals dies or your Predacons, one of your characters dies, they're gone for good. They don't come back. At least, if there is a way to revive them, I don't know how to yet. So I'm over here on level 2 with one unit left. Just
that's
Rhinox.
insane.
And it's like, yeah, you can save your game. And it's like, and because the platforming is kind of unforgiving and pitfalls are instant death. And this is, like, Optimus Primal has a flight mode. Air Razor can fly, but none of the other ones can because this is pre-transmetal. So I don't have, like, Jet Cheetor. But, like, I lost all of my guys because the pitfalls and I saved.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's go back to the
So
beginning.
yeah, so that whole concept of like the punishment for failure, like how far you have to go back, etc., is like not really an issue in Shantae Half Genie Hero. It is hard. It has hard fights and hard platforming, but you can basically just redo parts of the game over and over and over again with very little punishment, which is nice. So I find it a lot more accessible than like a true NES era side-scrolling platformer.
Yes.
And it's basically a soft remake of like a spiritual remake of the original, the first game, the Game Boy Color game.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to play the Game Boy Color game, I've played it on the 3DS as a digital download, and
Yeah,
then they
that's
re-released it with a limited run version on the Switch and other consoles. But I have this Switch version. I can't really get into the first game.
the
The
hitboxes are a bit
controls are just a
weird.
little bit too, yeah, and the controls are just a little bit too off because the Game Boy Color only had the two face buttons.
Yeah.
The button to hold down B to sprint kind of thing is the same as your hair whip attack. So you have to like whip and then wait for your sprint to like reach full speed, and then you have to like come grind to a halt to attack, and it just feels clunky. Whereas the later games don't have that. But Shantae 5, the Seven Sirens, is a Metroidvania,
Ooh.
and it is quite good. Um, the base release version apparently was a bit unbalanced in terms of like you could become really, really, really overpowered in that game, which is kind of par for the course of Metroidvanias. Most people
Indeed.
say, hey, in like Super Metroid and in Soten, you can become like godlike in terms of your power level by the end of those games.
Heck, in
Um,
Symphony of the Night, if you know what you're doing, you can actually skip getting your weapon stolen by death at the very
yes,
beginning.
but that's like speedrun strats kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can basically become like borderline unkillable by the end of that game, and it's similar in Shantae and the Seven Sirens, but they released like for free, just completely for free. They released like 4 or 5 alternate game modes, one of which is just like a total rebalancing of the game. So you can play either the way it was originally released, which I do recommend, or you can play a completely rebalanced version that is, harder in some places, easier than others. Like however they decided it needed to be rebalanced, it's rebalanced appropriately.
Yes.
So I highly, highly recommend that game because as much as I do like Metroidvanias, but there's a lot of them out there I've had a hard time getting into. That one I cannot recommend more strongly.
I always thought to myself that if Mega Man Legends were to be a 2D Mega Man game, it would absolutely have to be a Metroidvania because the entire shtick of it is like, honestly, the best way I can describe Mega Man Legends, if you've never played it, it's Ocarina of Time, but you're playing as Mega Man. But Mega Man Legends was
Yeah,
released before Ocarina of Time, so but it's like that. It's dungeon crawling, finding treasure, solve the occasional puzzle. Um, fight enemies in a 3D battle arena. You got your loadouts with you, that kind of thing. I imagine if it was 2D, because of how Super Metroid played with like going underground and jumping like through these different areas and all that, like exploring caves and stuff. That's how Legends would be if it was 2D. Sir Isaac asks, "Am I going to play the Game Boy Color Beast Wars 2 game?" It's on the list. I probably won't dedicate a full video to that one specifically because based on what I played, I don't have a ton to say about it. Halfway because I can't read Japanese, so I can't figure out what the dialogue is saying. Gameplay wise, it is a little bit clunky, but the sprites are like super goofy looking, and like especially like Megatron. Looking at him in this, like Beast Wars Megatron in his purple Dino mode, I'm like, you're so dang adorable in this art style. Like I hate it. I just want to punch you in
yeah,
the face.
yeah. You'll be over there playing the that Game Boy Color Beast Wars game while I'm over here playing the DS movie games,
Yeah.
which I have almost all of them now. Ironically, the only one I'm missing now is for the first movie.
Hmm.
I have the Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon games on the DS.
Yeah.
And there's technically two different Dark of the Moon mobile games because there's the base game on DS, which still has like the Autobot and Decepticon split versions, but then there's also Stealth Force Edition,
Yes.
which was 3DS and Wii, and so I kind of would like to pick up the 3DS version of that. But then also the 3DS version of Darkspark is a strategy RPG made by WayForward, the developers of Shantae. It all comes full circle.
Wow.
So that game actually might be. I mean, I'm sure it was rushed as hell, but that game might actually be decent because I love strategy RPGs and I trust that developer. I do not trust the developers that made Vanilla Darkspark on consoles though, because they were basically just either a they were basically just a dedicated port studio for like EA and Activision. The only thing good that Edge of Reality has on their resume is they did the PS3 ports for Dragon Age and Mass Effect, and that's the only thing like good they ever did. And much like Luxaflux with the Revenge of the Fallen game, Darkspark was the last game that Edge of Reality made. So there's two Transformers games now in this retrospective where the game has killed the studio.
If I had a nickel for every time.
Oh, I need to put that in the script. Oh my god, you're right. Maybe we'll put that at the
Can you
end.
do a good Dr. Doofenshmirtz impression? It's been a while since I did mine. It strains my throat a little bit, so I'm out of practice.
I will. My voice will absolutely crack if I try. I'm like picturing it in my head right now, and I know my voice is gonna crack.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
once upon a time, I could hit the high notes from Take On Me, but I can't hit them anymore.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to
That's
say that wasn't that long
TLDR.
ago. But
My
that was like 10 years ago.
yeah.
My voice broke.
TLDR. That's my review of Darkspark. By the way, I'm still working on that video. But the individual levels, I do not have a lot to say about because it is just. I think I told you before. It is. Um, we've got Jonathan and Michelle in the chat saying that they would pay money to hear me impersonate
Doofenshmirtz.
Schmertz. Yeah, I was like,
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
um, but yeah. So Darkspark. It's if you haven't heard me talk about it yet, this will all be in the video. The video is it's getting there. It's almost done. Um, what it feels like is like I'm doing a beta test for Fall of Cybertron DLC. It's like you know how maybe this is a little bit too specific. Maybe you don't know what I'm referring to, but you know how on Steam you'll get those like asset flip games. You know what I'm talking about? Are you
Uh,
there?
uh, Sorry, my audio cut out for a sec. Can you repeat that last line? I heard you say uh, beta testing DLC for Fall of Cybertron. What was after that?
Yeah. So, are you familiar with like asset flip games on Steam?
I have heard of them, and I kind of get the general gist of it. Like, it's you take the exact same basic code or the exact same models, and you use them across different unrelated games. I know that there was like a whole debacle with like Digital Homicide Studios and things like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Frederick Knudsen down the rabbit hole for teaching me about that.
Yeah,
Um,
and quote unquote Jim fucking Sterling's son.
yeah. Then there's
Um,
uh, brain work.
but anyway, so
Keeping with Transformers, Devastation over here, reusing at least movements and animations from Metal Gear Rising. Like I'm over here dual wielding the Optimus Primal curved swords, and the movement pattern is exactly Sundowner. And again, Megatron's over here with Senator Armstrong's moveset. That's a little less egregious because it's like the same type of game, and it's the movement, but it's not the models, so it's a little less egregious, but it's
well, that's also
still
literally the
tangentially.
same devs though.
Yeah, but like Digital Homicide was the same devs, and they did the exact same thing across like all their games.
So what I'm referring to is the asset flip in concept is what would happen a lot of times is people would do these with the Unity or Unreal Engine dev tools,
Yeah,
where the dev tools would come with some like pre-made assets for you to like tinker around with, and people would just take like the bog standard pre-built assets that came with the dev kit and just upload those straight onto Steam and call it a game.
really?
Um, there is a dev kit for Crytek, the Cry engine that was used for the Crisis series, as I'm sure you're familiar with. And so the asset flips for the Cry engine games have like the Crisis UI, like the heads up display and the weapons and the weapon sound effects and everything, but everything about them is jank and awful, and that is what it feels like to play Darkspark. I'm like, these are all assets from a game that I know is good, but some other team has used them to make something very unremarkable. And it's not all bad, but it just feels off. Like there are there are cutscenes where the camera kind of like free floats around weirdly. It doesn't have any of the production quality that Fall of Cybertron did. And there's like weird moments of jank where like characters will get stuck on things, or there's like a sniper section where you're playing as I think you're playing as Kickback at this point, and you're chasing Cliff Jumper.
Yeah.
And Cliff Jumper has the cloaking that he had in Fall of Cybertron, and you're basically doing like a sniper duel from across a huge arena with him as you're chasing him, and you could just like see him spawned in the environment and take pot shots at him, and he just turns invisible and keeps going, and it's like this is really breaking my immersion.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many different arenas in the game where um, it will be like, hey, do this one objective, like flip this switch like 6 times. So go around this big open arena and flip like 6 switches and fight enemies while you do it. it is like it's lazy and copy paste and yeah. And the Earth levels, like based on Age of Extinction, they look awful. Like the Dark of the Moon game, which was made on the previous generation's tech, looks better than the Earth levels do in Darkspark.
I'm honestly amazed whenever, like, especially if it's the same company and same publisher, whenever they manage to do that. Because like, I get new technology can be hard to master, but a lot of the big bragging points about newer console generations until they eventually reach their inevitable heat death, which I think we're getting close to, is just, oh, look how high res and realistic these graphics look. And then some games just look worse than the previous generation.
Yeah, and it's not about it looking worse in terms of fidelity. It undeniably looks better on the PS4 than Fall of Cybertron did on the PS3. Like there's no question about that. But it runs worse. It has like long ass loading screens that Fall of Cybertron didn't have. And again, this is what happens when you take a fully made game, Fall of Cybertron, and you give it to some other third party and tell them to crap something out in like less than a
Like,
year.
if I wanted
That's
to
what
watch,
happens. And
if I want to watch these long loading screens, I go play Sonic 06.
right, that's what it almost like was trying to think of a Sonic 06 joke with how long these loading screens are.
Like you're talking about how
Um,
they had this full game done, or most all the assets were done, and they're all good, and then they hand them to people who couldn't handle them well. I like my brain just went to Ratatouille for some reason. Just that scene where Linguini knocks the pot of soup off the counter, then he starts throwing stuff in it. He taste tests it, he throws it up out the window. And it was like if Remy was in
yeah.
charge.
Yeah, so if I didn't say so before, Darkspark was not made by High Moon Studios at all. They had nothing to do with it.
Wasn't the studio either closed at that point or banished to the Call of Duty mines?
No, they were still working on the Deadpool game.
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
At this time, they were probably working on the Deadpool game. This was, I just don't think they wanted to pay them to make this because again, I think if they were going to make another Transformers game, they probably would have put more time and care into it.
Yeah.
And so well, I guess because Activision owned the rights to the series, they were like, we're just going to take all these assets from Fall of Cybertron, give it to Edge of Reality, and Edge of Reality makes a campaign that is just worse in every way. I actually like there are some enjoyable moments in the game. Don't get me wrong, it's not all bad, but there's a Jetfire level that's pretty good, but um it is probably the worst game in the retrospective that I reviewed so far because the Dark of the Moon game, for as short and boring as that was, at least was like it had the decency of being like a short, tight experience where none of the set pieces overstayed their welcome. All the characters felt different to play as. It has a very distinctly different feel than War for Cybertron that came before it, whereas the transition between Fall and Darkspark is they're identical. They're completely identical, whereas the transition from War to Dark of the Moon is quite different.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So this game makes me like the Dark of the Moon game more. Which I know some people will probably be happy about from that video's reception.
And after you get done with this one, is it one more and then Devastation, or is Devastation the next one?
Devastation's the next one.
I need to kick it in high gear then because we're supposed to collab on that, and I haven't finished my recording for any of my previous ones.
Yeah, and I haven't yeah, it's gonna be I mean, hopefully it will be done before the end of this year. I don't have any real timeline for it because I need to finish the Darkspark video and then get all the footage for Devastation, and I don't know if I'm going to want to like re-record certain levels because I'm not super confident in my gameplay when it comes to Devastation, and I don't know if certain characters are more optimal for certain levels. So I just am not as practiced with the game as I think I need to be for this type of video, but we'll see how it goes.
Honestly, I think that the most optimal character for, like, especially some of the levels where you have to just fight 2 or 3 boss fights in a row, Grimlock. Just Grimlock smash. Just
Yeah,
bulldoze.
makes sense.
I think the absolute funniest thing about that is, the Autobots are riding into battle. You got, like, a car and a truck, and they're all, driving at high speeds, and then just behind them you see Grimlock just running after them, keeping pace, and I'm like, what is that fat dinosaur doing here? It straight up
This
feels
dinosaur sprinting at.
it straight up feels like an episode out of the 80s cartoon, and I love it.
Yeah. Any other media you want to share before I move on to my next one?
Let's see. We talked about JoJo. We talked about Mega Man. Aside from those, I don't really have much that I have a ton to say about. I'm excited for the upcoming Demon Slayer movie. I'm current on that on the anime front. I heard that Beyond the Spider-Verse got bumped back again. Sakamoto Days is finally getting its next batch of episodes, so I'm keeping up with that as it comes out. Free Run Beyond World's End is getting another season eventually. I started another anime as a curiosity that I heard about. It's called Rosen Maiden, and one of the main characters in that is voiced by Mila Lee, and she's basically doing her Rin Tosaka voice, and a lot of her dialogue. I'm like, if I close my eyes, it's just Rin.
Yeah.
You've seen that one?
I have not seen it, but I'm very much aware of its reputation because I think it was part of the early 2000s era, an era that I'm pretty nostalgic for.
Right. So I can't really get too deep into it plot wise because I've only seen like the first episode. I do plan to watch the rest. I just haven't taken the time. It's only like 13 episodes, it's not that long. But yeah, it's just all I hear is Rin from this character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yes, that's absolutely Rin Tosaka right here. Just I could take this audio that she is saying and I could slap it over any given clip of Fate Stay Night, and you'd think it was real.
Yeah, I had another friend that was talking about they were rewatching Vampire Night.
Yeah,
and Mela Lee appears in that as well.
Something I wanted to say earlier but completely forgot about because I had a brain fart, but this reminded me of it. Some of the mods we got for Dissidia are Fate characters. Like, we have Bartz from Final Fantasy V is, like, reskinned to be Shiro. Because, his whole thing is mimicry. And the way they have Bartz play in Dissidia is rather than, like... I don't remember how he played in 5 because I haven't played 5 yet, but what he would do is, in Dissidia, he didn't have his own moveset. He copied everyone else's weapons, and you could chain them together in, like, certain combinations. And his EX burst was combining all of their weapons together into the Brave Blade for, like, a single powerful strike. So they reskinned Shiro, or they reskinned him as Shiro Emiya from Fate Unlimited Codes, and he's over here with, like, all of the different weapons that the different heroic spirits use. He's, like, got Berserker's Axe Sword, he's got Kansho and Bakuya, he's got Gay Bolg, he's got Caliburn, and when he does Brave Blade, it turns into Excalibur for a single strike. And then they have Furion, which his thing in Final Fantasy 2 was based on how that system worked. A character got good with whatever weapon or skill you trained them with. So they're like, Furion and Dissidia, weapon master, jack of all trades. You've got a spear, you've got a throwing axe, you've got rope knives, you've got a bow, you got magic, you got a shield that lets you counter, you got everything. So they're like, okay, primary weapon is a bow, and he uses a lot of weapons that he can pull out of nowhere because he's got hammer space. Archer from Fate Stay Night. It's a perfect reskin. And I'm like, yes. All we're missing is Unlimited Blade Works, but it looks fantastic. And of course you got Ku Kulane reskinned as Kane Highwind. It is really, really great.
Yeah.
I just love it.
They need to reskin Gilgamesh as Gilgamesh.
That is... I actually want to make a video joking on Fate Stay Night Gilgamesh using Gilgamesh's voice lines from Dissidia Duodecim because he is quite goofy in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when he goes into his EX mode and he sprouts, like, 6 arms, he goes, Gilgamesh morphing time!
Yeah. Some of that is from the GBA translation of FF5, which was a very goofy localization. but it is
Oh, whoops.
some people prefer it over the PS1 translation, which was a little bit rough around the edges.
Oh yeah, the PS1 version did exist first. Final Fantasy Anthology? Question mark. I have it on my shelf.
Yes, that's correct.
They do
Yep.
have a.
I love.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
They do have a, Gilgamesh reskin for Bart's, like giving him just the weapons from the Gate of Babylon. But I'm like, nah. I still think that Furion would have been a better reskin for Gilgamesh. But like,
Hmm.
one of the reskins that we have on there is Zoro from One Piece as Gilgamesh, because when he sprouts all those arms, and his fighting style is two arms, a sword in each hand, and he cycles between like a bunch of different weapons he's got. Like he's got the Masamune, he's got chicken daggers, he's got Excalibur, Zentetsuken, and a bunch of others. And then when he goes into his six arm mode, he's got like six. Like you can either have like three and three, or you can have six of a kind, or you can have one of each, or maybe it's eight arms. I don't remember how many he has total. But Gilgamesh is a ton of fun to play as. I just wanted to bring that back because I remembered Fate because of Rose of Maiden because Melee Lee. That's how my brain works.
Yeah. Quick change about Final Fantasy V because it is also one of my favorites. I love that game to pieces. It doesn't have. It's not as like widely regarded as 4 or 6 because it wasn't localized back in the SNES era. It would probably be more fondly remembered if it had a proper localization back in the day. It's also like a much more lighthearted story with goofier characters than 6 are both pretty dark.
I mean, the main
So
villain
it's
of
like
Final Fantasy
sandwich.
V is literally a tree.
Exactly, he's a giant tree from the void. Um, so people are typically more fond of 4 and 6, and it's like awkwardly sandwiched between those two games. But I think the SNES trilogy is top to bottom just completely solid. Some of the most solid, least controversial entries in the whole series.
No, friend. It's not. It's not a trilogy. It's a quartet. You forgot about Mystic Quest.
Did I though?
Hey,
Also, I don't know if
Mystic Quest is great. I will fight you on this one.
Well, I don't know if it's technically a Final Fantasy game in Japan.
Yeah, Final Fantasy US is Final Fantasy US Mystic Quest. That was the very first media review I ever did. I did my reading.
I have a Super Famicom inbox copy of it staring at me from across the room. Anyway, so Final Fantasy V has the job class system, much like 1 and 3 did. And so Bart's not having a fighting style of his own makes sense because it's just whatever job class you give him. The mimicry thing comes from the mime job class that is the secret bonus one you get as like the best one in the game, where you can copy the last move done in the fight. And so if you have a character with a really broken move that costs a lot of MP or something like that, you can use that once and then have the mime character copy it, so you can just use your best moves over and over and over again. Really, it's a absurdly powerful job class, and it's meant for post-game stuff pretty much exclusively.
That does sound incredibly broken.
So that's where that comes from. But the Brave Blade is interesting because there are two weapons in Final Fantasy V that reward one particular play style over the other.
Brave Blade and Chicken Dagger.
Correct. And most people will tell you that the chicken knife is better. And in order to maximize the power of the chicken knife, you would have to run from a certain amount of battles to power up the chicken knife over the course of the game.
So me and Final Fantasy IV. Because I'm stuck on the moon. Me and Final Fantasy IV, I'm stuck on the moon because I'm under-leveled because I ran away from too many battles.
Which version of Final Fantasy IV did you play?
PSP.
PSP, okay. That's a pretty good version of the game, actually. If you had played the PS1 version of 4, which is the Japanese hard mode, or the original difficulty, because there's a whole thing about this. I can send you the video, but the Super Nintendo version of FF4 had an easy type mode, and the PS1 Final Fantasy Chronicles version of 4 was the original Japanese hard mode version. And so the PSP version should have been a more balanced version than that. But I guess it's still possible to screw yourself over in that game. 4 is pretty unforgiving, if I'm being honest.
I feel like there's also partly that I was in that phase in my life where a lot of times I was playing games simply to complete them to say that I completed them rather than actually taking my time and enjoying games. Like that's also the time period I played Ocarina of Time for the first time. And then you remember, like last year, I was sending you messages about my current playthrough. It's when I was actually taking my time and enjoying the game and absorbing everything it had, instead of
Yeah.
just beat the game, beat the game, beat the game. You know.
Yeah, I think I will sometimes catch myself doing that where I'm like, okay, I'm not engaging in this game uh, enough to appreciate it, so I probably need to back off because I'm in too much of a hurry, or I don't feel like I have the time to really digest it. So I definitely know that feeling.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I love Final Fantasy V. Highly recommend it. I have one other tangent I want to go on, but I need to get some water bad, so I'll be right back.
You need to get your water bottle to keep with you during stream time.
I mean, I had this full cup and just finished it off, so we rectify the situation.
Yeah, I mean we've been going for 2 hours and I've about drunk my whole water bottle too. There's like don't know if it's quite a gallon, but 2,000 milliliter, whatever that converts to. I'm American. I don't know these things. Oh, it says on the bottom 74 ounces. Boom, psh, boom, boom, psh, boom, psh, boom, boom. Ba ba da bee, ba 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 da boom, ba 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 da boom. Well, I suppose while we're waiting on him to get back, I could take this time to bring up another topic that I have been. I'm going to make an independent video on this as well. And I've already made a post on the Discord server and on Twitter about this, but for anyone seeing this for the first time, for my channel specifically, or our channel, you know, me and Rio, this is relevant. Starting August 13th, YouTube will be rolling out AI-based age verification for the platform for anyone who appears to be under the age of 18. The very first way they're going to try to verify things is based on your watch history and when your account was made. So while my personal account was made back in like 2007, and it's 18 years now, if I did the math right, that should be fine. But the Flashing Blades account, the one that I'm streaming from right now, has only been up for 10 years, and the majority of our watch history is things that pertain to our content. So it's like Mega Man, Transformers, and other things like that, which YouTube has decided to mark as for kids. So in the event that we get locked out of this account, we're going to continue streaming on Twitch, and we're going to find a different platform to upload our content on, because the way they want you to verify your age, should you not pass with your account age and your watch history, is they want you to either send a selfie or submit a credit card number or your driver's license to a Google-run AI program. And neither me nor Rio are on board with this at all. So if we get locked out of our account, and that's the reason why we can't do this, then we're jumping platforms. So I don't know how many episodes of this podcast are going to be streamed to YouTube, but there's the warning from our end, just in case. We have backups just in case, and while we are monetized on YouTube and not on Twitch yet, it's not about money, it's about sending a message. So if
Yeah,
worst comes
I
to
completely
worst,
agree.
if worst comes to worst, we will like Rio and I will jump platforms if we have to. Prefer not to because it took us a long time to get the amount of subs that we have now. Love each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. But again, this is something that's important to us. So, and we're not gonna potentially jeopardize our lives, our real lives, by giving our IDs, which they should already have since they have my payment information, to an AI. And I mean, how many big corporations have been hacked in the last few years? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
like Google had a security breach kind of recently, didn't they? Sony's been hacked. Like, I don't trust this at all in the slightest. And like I told you before we started the stream, I believe that there's going to be enough pushback in the United States, like either from enough people directly, like taking action in one way or another and finding workarounds for the AI system, that it is going to be removed, or that people are just going to stop using YouTube, and YouTube will be like, hey, where did all of our precious ad revenue go? Oh, we're losing money. We should probably backroll this because it was a freaking dumb idea. So,
yeah, I think that that's likely the case where I think if enough content creators leave or stop making content, they will be like, oh, hey, our money producers are disappearing. We should roll this decision back. So I don't see it lasting. I think the degree of censorship online that we are seeing right now in the US and in the UK is horrifying, and it reminds me a lot of the plot of Metal Gear Solid 2. Um, like, no, I won't spoil that if you have not played it, but internet censorship is definitely a it feels like a control mechanism. And I
yeah,
don't like it.
like I'm not here to
I'm not
get
taking
to
this whole
conspiracy.
situation too seriously at the moment because I'm assuming that they will roll it back. So I'm not really worried about trying to come up with a backup plan for the channels or anything. I'll just let it be. Whatever happens, happens. But um, yeah, I certainly don't approve of the idea of it. That's for sure.
Literally nobody, like, who actually understands what's going on approves of what is happening. Like,
Yeah,
and I know they want to constantly keep saying, "Oh, it's for the kids." I'm like, "Yeah, the YouTube Kids app. The terms of service say you got to be 13 to use YouTube in the first place. This is like you're quadrupling down on the whole COPPA thing from like 5 years ago, which like that ended up being mostly a nothing burger, aside from a couple of comment sections getting closed down, and I mean a lot of like Elsie Gate channels got canned. Good, but like for the average Joe content creator, most like from what I understand, a lot of them were relatively unaffected, or they had workarounds like say up front, not for kids, drop a couple swear words in there. But this is completely worse because it's like, yeah, like dox yourself in order to access your account. Give us your credit card info. I was like, nah.
yeah.
So Isaac says
I don't buy.
he sent a video to the Discord that might help. Yes, I will look at that. I do have a couple of like things I'm gonna try before I just completely give up. If they try to clap me with prove your age, I do got like one or two things I'm gonna try. But if I can't get around it and they're like, yeah, give us your driver's license or a credit card, how about a giant middle finger and I'll never darken your doorstep again. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I definitely do not. I do not buy the excuse one bit that it's quote unquote for the kids, because they could just say that about anything. Where it's like they could. Somebody made a good joke about this the other day, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they they use this like really malicious language of like, oh yeah, this is like the Stop Murdering Babies Act or something like that. And they'll call it that, so it's like, oh, well, do you oppose the Stop Murdering Babies Act? It's like, no, well, I oppose you being like darkly authoritarian. Like I oppose the regime from fucking 1984. Like there's a certain adult content website you may or may not be familiar with that was recently outlawed in the UK, and like it requires age verification and stuff like that in a very similar way of like you have to take a picture of yourself or of your ID and send it in to verify your age, and you have to have an account logged in. And they initially pushed back on this because they told the governments, they were like, what you're asking us to do
Is dox
is to
ourselves.
retain what you're asking us the website to do is to retain personal private information for our users, which is an enormous security risk. We don't want to do that. We don't want to hold our customers' information like that, but you're forcing us to ask our customers for that. It's ridiculous. It makes me so
Yeah,
mad.
the key difference here is that I trust the integrity of that adult content website more than I trust Google, because Google is the type of company, like Google owns YouTube, for those who didn't know. Google's the type of company that you will have your phone, like, not even in your hand. It'll be across the room. And you will say to someone, hey, let's go, I don't know, get Arby's or something. Next thing you know, all your ads are Arby's. Like, they listen to you,
Yeah.
even if you tell them, don't have this permission on my phone. They'll be like, yeah, no, we get this anyway. Oh, you literally thought about something, or you said something out loud to nobody. Yeah, we're giving you all the ads for that now. So Google does not care about breach of privacy or breach of security. They want your personal info so they can sell it to other people. So I don't trust them for a second with any of this.
Yeah, and it's like, I keep coming back around to this without going on too much of more of a tangent about this, but I keep coming back to this where it's like, it is so wild to me that people believe in conspiracy theories, because the idea that you need to believe in like an evil, invisible shadow government that does evil things, it's like, no, you can just believe that the government we already have does evil things, because they do evil things in broad fucking daylight, like constantly. There doesn't need to be an Illuminati lurking in the shadows doing evil stuff, because our government just is like nakedly evil all the time,
Well,
in broad daylight, right in front of your eyes.
the only difference
And
is
so,
that
if anything, I feel like
they
the
are
people,
they are the same thing. The only difference is that in the broad daylight version, they pretend to be on different sides. Like, did you ever watch the Boondocks?
I very, very, very little.
Okay, like a really like easy to digest example that doesn't get like too political or too conspiracy is like, there's an issue that came up, and it was getting like all kinds of televised news, like, in the TV episode of the Boondocks. And you had one side was like giving all of this like rhetoric, and the other side was clapping back, and it was like really heated. But the second the cameras turned off, they were all buddy buddy behind the scenes, and they're like, yeah, we don't actually believe any of what we're actually saying. We're just doing this to drum up drama and to get views and to get clicks and to get sponsorships and things like that.
Yeah. On a similar note, it's like, again, the evil bastards in power would, it's almost like it's in their best interest to keep people believing in crazy conspiracy theories, because it's like, that thing that you think is real, yeah, it's totally real. Keep focusing on that, so you'll ignore all the obviously evil shit that we do in broad daylight, is what it feels like. Because um they know that, like, the conspiracy theory things are just not real, but if people are distracted by that, they won't focus on the real problem. So it blows my mind to hear some of the things people choose to believe in when um they're like, I wonder who keeps screwing me over. It must be this marginalized group, or this group that doesn't even exist. It's like, no, it's the people that keep doing it right in front of you every day. Like,
The people who are taking your tax
oh, it's
dollars.
crazy.
But we got a bit sidetracked on that. I was not intending to go down that rabbit hole with that. I was just giving them a heads up of, hey, in case I don't post anymore, here's where to find me. Anyway, you had a tangent that you wanted to, or you had a plot point, conversation topic you wanted to shift to, like 10 minutes
Yeah,
ago?
it actually does tie in a little bit to what we were talking about, which is really
okay.
funny. But long story short, my dear beloved friend Corey, who was in chat earlier, was so kind to hook me up with a Steam Deck earlier this year, as you know. And so I haven't really talked about this on the channel or like any official capacity. I don't think, but I do. I've been playing some either PC exclusive games or games that play optimally on PC compared to consoles.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 with her, which has been a lot of fun. It's a game that I have had to go into with an open mind because it was the game that everybody under the sun in 2023 was telling you that it was the best game ever made, and it was selling like it was the best game ever made. It was winning awards like it was the best game ever made, and people just would not stop talking about it. People were putting like hundreds of hours into it, doing a second, third, fourth playthrough, etc. And so
Trying to
like
sleep with every single
I
character on the
def
roster.
yeah, I needed the hype to die down a little bit for me to go into it with a truly open mind. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. I can't. I'm too early in the game to be able to say that I will love it as much as other people do. But I'm having a great time with it. We're playing on a co-op together, and it is basically just a D&D simulation, really, where the degree of choices you can make and the game will account for and not punish you for is really cool. There will be like a thing you can potentially do, like a character you can talk to or an item you can get or something like that, where if you fail your chance at getting it, the game does not soft lock. You can just keep going. You just don't have that thing anymore, or you don't have that character is no longer viable to talk to or something like that. I just find that to be really cool. The game accounts for stuff like that. But most of the other games I have on the Steam Deck are um, older, like late '90s, early 2000s era PC games, and
Got Age of
the
Empires
one
2
that
on there?
I'm what's that?
Got Age of Empires 2 on there?
No, although I don't know if that would play well without a mouse. But
Yeah. A little difficult.
so I'm playing the original Deus Ex right now,
Yeah.
and I am I would love to make a video on this topic, but I know I'm not qualified to do it because um of what the recording setup would be required to be. But I will probably make at least like a PowerPoint presentation to bombard my friends with on this topic. But I genuinely think that immersive sims, as they are unfortunately called, is up there with my favorite genre of games. And I think that they are also the genre that has the most like untapped potential because they are expensive to make and they're hard to market. They're not guaranteed to sell. It's hard to sell somebody on the appeal of these games. Um, but playing the original Deus Ex, um, I really am able to see like what this game does right, and what I feel like are the core essential elements of the immersive sims genre that the games need to do well at in order to be a good example of the genre. And so I kind of want to do like a stream where I rank order every immersive sim I've played from best to worst. That I think, in terms of doing the formula correctly, I think the original Deus Ex is up there at the top. It's like either the first or second best one at this formula. I think my personal favorite is still Dishonored. I think Dishonored is still my favorite because it is more accessible. And I'll kind of talk about why. But are you at all familiar with this series?
Not really. I will say recording on Steam Deck is actually not as difficult as you might think. I know two methods that you can use just for simplicity, and I can tell you about those after the stream's over. I got a couple that would work pretty well for you.
Yeah, I know it's possible to just do HDMI out to the Elgato on the dock but I don't have a dock for mine yet.
Right. Also, on that note, go third party because they are just as good as the official ones, and they're like $30 cheaper. But
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Steam Deck does offer a built-in recorder. It saves directly to the SDD, so you really need to have a big one for that. That's why I swapped mine out for a 2 terabyte one. And there is a program that will let you convert your Steam recordings into MP4s, and then you go to desktop mode, plug it into a dock, plug in a USB, or just use desktop mode to update it to like an archive or a Google Drive or something, and then download it to your computer. It's really that simple. That's what I've been doing with the last couple games that I've been recording. Like I said, I'm working on a Halo Reach video as well. I've got the audio recorded for it. I just need to get all the footage transferred over, and I was waiting for my new flash drive to come in for that. But so that should be coming soon. But yeah, it's really simple. But,
yeah, that's good to know.
If that was all that's holding you back, then there you go. You got that.
Not quite. So specifically with immersive sims, this little subgenre of games, they do play the best on PC, and not necessarily just because of like graphics or anything like that. It's usually because there needs to be like a bunch of keyboard functions, and there needs to be like inventory management with a mouse and everything, and that's definitely true with the original Deus Ex. It does have a PS2 port from back in the day, which I have played a bit of that port, but I was very glad to be able to switch over to the PC version and not try to finish the game on the PS2 port, because apparently the PS2 port cut some content out of the game to make it more palatable for consoles. So I'm glad I have the original experience, but all of your weapons and your augmentations are bound to like the function keys, and like you can set hotkeys for all that stuff. Playing it on the Steam Deck, I have a few hotkeys for things. Like I have I should say, very importantly, this game does not have Steam Deck it doesn't have good Steam Deck compatibility. It doesn't have controller support. The game is basically thinks that my the little trackpad on the side is a virtual mouse, and the shoulder buttons are virtual mouse buttons. Mouse 1, mouse 2,
Right.
are L2 and R2. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
So like even to load up my save file, I'm like using the trackpad to like move the mouse over the load game button and clicking in with R2 to select it. It works. It's a little bit jank. And when I posted a photo to the Deus Ex fan group on Facebook with my Steam Deck running the game, and like my original big box PC copy of the game and the PS2 version, because this was the 25th anniversary of the game actually earlier this year. That photo got like over 100 likes on that group or something like that, which was cool. But people were asking me, they're like, "How are you getting this to run on the Steam Deck? How does it play?" And I'm like, I'm having to manually bind the keys to do what I want. So like the fact that the Steam Deck has the lower set of shoulder buttons helps a lot. The L4 and 5 and R4 and 5 makes a huge difference. So I can have like, I have a key for inventory, I have a key for jumping, I have a key for the key ring item in the game that holds all your keys on it.
Yes.
And then there's like I have to have buttons for the lean feature. I have to have buttons for like jumping and crouching and putting your weapon away, taking your weapons out. But unfortunately, whenever I want to equip a different weapon or a different augmentation, I have to manually open my inventory and like drag and drop my mouse to select it. And so that's pretty jank compared to how people would be playing it on PC.
As far as I'm aware, Steam Deck does offer mouse and keyboard support, but it has to be in dock mode to do it.
Yes, so I'm not able to take advantage of that until I get the dock.
Kind of eliminates the portability of it, but it is possible if you want to turn it into a PC console, effectively.
Yeah, and I do want to do that for this game, and for like System Shock 2 is the other one I'm playing through.
Yes.
And it will take until I get the dock before I can do that. So I'm making do with what I have, and I'm probably about halfway through the game at this point. And I'm having a really good time with it. It is very difficult to describe unless you've played these games, but I'm a big fan of the later Deus Ex games, Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. But there's something about this game where you can tell Harvey Smith, the director of Dishonored, worked on this game. And a lot of the things that make Dishonored work is because it has a lot of Deus Ex's blood in it. And it's hard to describe exactly what that means, but like you should be able to solve a problem that is normally solved by shooting somebody by stacking a bunch of crates up and jumping over the problem. Does that make sense?
Undertale
That's how
pacifist mode.
that is the quintessential design pillar of an immersive sim. Is like, is there a problem that requires shooting somebody where you can stack up crates and go around it? Or like convincing the NPC not to fight. Also, every like building needs to be like a space within a level, so you can't go into a building and go through a loading screen. You need to be able to like jump out the window if something goes wrong inside the building, and so most interior sections in Deus Ex and also in Dishonored are like fully loaded in spaces where you can like jump out the window or whatever. Um, so the immersion is like really top notch there. But I think where I come down on, I prefer Dishonored, where I think if I were to rank order all of the immersive sims, I would put Dishonored at number one. Is that the all these games have like different ways of playing them, different approaches, different choices.
Yes.
But the problem with the original Deus Ex is that the combat is just not fun. And I know that sounds like a uh, really strong condemnation, but hear me out. It works in the context of this game, but the combat is not strictly fun. Whereas in Dishonored, if you get detected, you have to abandon your stealth approach, or you just want to go balls to the wall crazy and kill people. The combat is good. The combat is fun. It is fun to kill people in Dishonored if you choose to play it that way. In the original Deus Ex, you feel like you're kind of fighting against the will of the controls, and combat is not so much about like uh, your tactile reflexes. Like if you imagine a shooter, if you imagine Halo Reach, like your earlier example,
Yes.
there's a certain tactile feeling to like the timing of each shot with the DMR, with the reticle bloom as you're
Yes.
firing it,
As
and
opposed to
how
like
many
Halo
hits it
3. Yeah.
takes. Yeah, how many hits it takes to down the shields of an elite and the follow-up shot that kills it. Like all that is like reflex based. Um, in Deus Ex, the combat is more based around what setup, like what equipment you brought to the fight, or what kind of clever solutions you can implement to avoid having to fight. So the satisfaction of combat comes from like, okay, I hid under a desk and I like uh fired a bullet which aggroed like 10 enemies outside the room, and they all came in, but they couldn't see me because I was hiding under the desk. And then I fired off a flamethrower shot from under the desk, which set all of them on fire, and they all went running away. And that's how I dealt with that encounter. And so encounters are more of like a puzzle solving thing of like when you figure out a way around it, you're like, oh, that's the sauce. That's what I got, and like that's where it's satisfying, is like figuring out ways to not have to get into conventional fights.
That I think the game I've had the closest experience with something kind of like that is you've heard me talk about the Boktai game series before. You've heard me mention it a few times.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
that game, the original one was made by well, okay, the first three and the fourth one really they're all Konami and they were all made by Hideo Kojima. But the first one really capitalized on the stealth element that people liked about Metal Gear Solid. So in between like every level, you would get graded on how well your stealth was. Like how many times did the enemy spot you? Your grade would go down, and the lower your grade, the worse your reward, etc. So you'd do things like bang on the wall to aggro this enemy, let him walk over here, and then as they're walking on this certain panel, you step on this other panel that causes a trap door to open, and he just falls through the floor to a different area. Or because it's like a vampire game, there's zombies and stuff, aggro him to walk under the skylight where there's sun shining in the room, and then they get vaporized because of the sun. things like that. You
Yeah.
gotta come up with like creative solutions instead of just going in guns blazing. Because like unless you shoot the enemy in the back and stun them instantly, they're gonna know you're there, and that's gonna reduce your score. So that's the closest thing that I played to be kind of similar.
Yeah. And so that kind of like puzzle solving in combat is like really, really rewarding. Um, and but it's not the most approachable game, especially by today's standards, because it is pretty old. But I was down for that because the thing with all these immersive sim type games, even the most accessible ones like BioShock, for example, it really does require like a couple of playthroughs before you really get it. And I know that sounds like a super condescending thing to say, and when I hear people say things like that about games, I usually roll my eyes and I'm like, okay, whatever, that doesn't sound like the game for me kind of thing. But I promise with these types of games with immersive sims that it is you will want to do the second, third, and fourth playthrough to like really understand all the mechanics because each playthrough builds off of your knowledge of the last, and they're also not long games. They're short. Like BioShock and Dishonored can be finished very quickly. This game, the original Deus Ex, is quite a bit longer from what I've seen so far. Some people have said their playthroughs can take up to like 30 hours, which is a little bit intimidating. But yeah, it's like knowing that there's a secret item off the beaten path somewhere, or knowing that there's an alternate way out of a situation by like talking to an NPC or bribing a security guard or something like that is like it's so rewarding to really feel like you've mastered the game's secrets. Um, I'll talk a little bit about the story without spoiling too much. Um, it is crazy how well this story has aged. And it also has like a little bit of political and social commentary that ties into exactly what I was saying about conspiracy theories earlier.
Yeah.
Except the conspiracy theories in this game are actually true, but it's kind of the similar concept to what I was saying earlier. So you are a cybernetically enhanced super soldier kind of guy working for a special government coalition, a special government counterterrorism coalition, and you the terrorist group is trying to uh, hijack this shipment of this vaccine because there's a global plague going on right now. Um, and so you're like, oh yeah, the terrorists are trying to steal the vaccine. You got to go stop them and everything. And then you go and talk to the terrorist leader, and he's like, oh yeah, uh, the plague was man made, and the upper class is the only ones who get the vaccine. The rich and powerful keeping the vaccine out of the hands of the people, and we're trying to send it back to the people, and you're just trying to stop us from doing the right thing. And when you realize this, you're like, we're not working for the good guys, are we? And the game further proceeds to turn its premise on its head like that, where like you start questioning whether or not the side you're working for is the correct one. And I think this is a story that requires a lot of emotional maturity and nuance to really think about. And I'm glad I'm playing it at the age that I'm playing it at, because I think if I was younger and played this, it would have gone over my head.
But now that you've lived through a lot of stuff that seems to be in line with that, you can appreciate it a bit more.
Yeah, or that like I'm even capable of thinking that a game's writing could like set me up to be like, oh yeah, the faction you work for is not the good guys, and you will slowly realize that over the course of the story, kind of thing. Um, so minor spoiler, yeah, minor spoiler. Cover your ears, chat, if you're planning to play this game. But there is an opportunity in the story to kind of double cross the faction you start out working for. And when you do this, you get basically put in like a holding cell by them. And you start to escape the holding cell. And basically, you're going to like go out and make your own way and discover the truth of the conspiracy on your own kind of thing. That segment where you're like captured by your own former allies and trying to escape is one of the most immersive segments of a game I've played in a long time. The music is peak, the atmosphere is peak, and the like uncertainty of what's going on, like you're so confused as to what's even going on and what truth and reality even is, and like the nature of all these conspiracies is unfolding, even down to like your own identity, like who you are, who the player character is called into question. And so like with all that uncertainty laying in the air, that segment of like trying to escape there is so tense, and I loved it. Probably my favorite gaming moment of this year so far, aside from maybe beating Unicorn Overlord earlier this year.
Unicorn Overlord.
Um, yeah,
The mental image I got of that is like that anime Overlord, but then you just got the Unicorn Gundam in the background. Destroy mode. Just
that would be a really funny edit. Um, but yeah, no. I think I've talked about Unicorn Overlord before, haven't I?
not with me, you haven't. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Oh, well, it's probably the best game I've beaten this year. I have not beat a lot of games this year compared to last year. Like, not at all. Last year I would have beaten like 20 games by this point. This year I've beaten like 4. Um, Unicorn Overlord is the newest game by Vanillaware, which is the studio that brought us Odin Sphere and Dragon's Crown.
Yeah.
And it is a strategy RPG similar to Fire Emblem, but it has a really interesting. It has a very interesting design. It's like pseudo real time, but it's also turn based. I made a video about it. I made a final thoughts, first impressions video on it if you want to check it out.
All right. Yeah, I'll give it a watch after the stream's over.
It's pretty short, and the video is pretty short, and it shows off the beautiful art style because it's all like 2D hand drawn sprites, like we were talking about earlier with the fighting games.
Good stuff.
And
Good stuff.
it's beautiful. It is a pretty simple fantasy plot for the most part. It does have some nice twists in there, but really the highlight is the gameplay. That's a game that is, it has a low floor, a low barrier to entry, but an enormously high ceiling. So if you just wanted to play it casually, you can avoid engaging with some of the more complex mechanics. But if you wanted to ratchet up the difficulty, it basically becomes a completely different game if you wanted to like fully unpack all the different mechanics it has.
And you said it's pseudo real time, or you said it's like half real time, half turn based, or is that the other game you were talking about?
No, a Unicorn Overlord is. It is. Yeah, Unicorn Overlord is. It's like a turn-based strategy RPG, like Fire Emblem, but the different units on the map move through the environment in real time. You just kind of have to like. You have to deliberately stop the action to give a character a command, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain without seeing it.
Is it anything like Final Fantasy 12?
No, because
Really.
I guess very, 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 very little is it like Final Fantasy 12 because it has you can prioritize the order in which your characters will use passive abilities, and in that sense, it is similar to 12, but in almost every other way, it's different from 12.
Makes sense.
It's much more.
I was thinking about the combat system of how it's like. It is turn based, but it's also like everyone is walking around, and they have like a queue of what they're gonna do. So you need to decide the order. And
Yeah, it's similar. That's a good way of describing it, but you'd have to watch the video and see some gameplay of it because it's going to be more evocative of a game like a RTS, So you're going to look at it and you're going to think like Warcraft or Halo Wars or Command and Conquer
Yeah,
sooner than you will Final Fantasy,
makes sense.
except for Final Fantasy Tactics,
Mm.
which is getting a remake this year, and I'm so excited.
Full voice acting for like the entire game too. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I knew when we got the Tactics Ogre one back in 2022 that Final Fantasy Tactics was next. So I was just waiting with bated breath for that announcement, and it finally happened. And it is currently my most anticipated release of this year. There's no other new game that's coming out that I care about as much as that remaster.
I do plan to pick it up and play it, but I should probably finish War of the Lions first, or
Yes, I
the
do
PS1 version.
recommend I do recommend playing the original version before playing the remake. Only to appreciate the quality of life changes that they will no doubt add.
Yes,
Even though we don't even know what they're going to add yet.
but I mean,
But
the,
yeah, I
the
would.
lag and load times can't be as like heavy as the PSP version. So
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before, but I do recommend the PS1 version of Tactics over the PSP version for that reason because the lag and load times is too much of a deal breaker compared to um the new CG cutscenes for War of the Lions.
yeah,
I prefer the PS1 version to the PSP version, but both are fine. We'll see how good the remake is. But yeah, Deus Ex might end up being my game of the year. We'll see how I feel when I beat it, but it's definitely going to take me another couple of playthroughs of it for me to really feel like I understand the mechanics. But in terms of the story, I think it is very, very, very good, and it has a very, very similar like fourth wall break political and social commentary thing that Metal Gear Solid 2 does, like I had talked about, where it's like um, media censorship, controlling the narrative, um, how information is transferred through the internet, and like the phenomenon of the internet being like a powerful tool for people to learn things that would otherwise be covered up, and also a powerful tool for disinformation is like the core theme of the game.
yes.
Um, and I would love at some point for you to try one of those immersive sim games, but I know you hate stealth.
Yeah, that's why I think Lunar Knights is the best Boktai game because you basically get to throw stealth out the window, just go in sword swinging.
Hmm.
I'm not a
I
fan of
think if you
stealth.
hate, yeah, I think if you hate stealth, the only really approachable immersive sim game then is BioShock. BioShock is the most approachable one, but it's also the one that is the most mechanically shallow compared to the others. There's no inventory management. There's no conversation mechanics. Um, there's not even really any major choices with your skill trees and your powers. Like you can kind of get everything. You don't have to pick one power to the exclusion of another. It's very forgiving in that regard.
Hmm.
And I do love BioShock. I think it's a phenomenal game. It's also one of my favorite games, but it is a great uh it's a great jumping off point for the immersive sim genre, but it is mechanically all very shallow compared to its predecessor, System Shock 2, and also Deus Ex, Dishonored, etc.
Yeah, maybe someday. Because like I said earlier, my backlog of games and anime is likely going to outlive me. So,
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that too. Anything else before we wrap up?
as far as media that I've been working on, that's about it. A lot of my media that I've just been consuming for my personal enjoyment has kind of stagnated, such as the curse of when you become a content creator. But
Yeah, for sure.
uh, like I said earlier, I bought JoJo Eyes of Heaven, so I'm planning on playing and recording that in the background just for a future video. So I might have something to say about that next time. I feel like there was something I played recently that I had a little to say about, but I can't remember it at the moment. Oh, I filmed an unboxing video for the Mighty Number 9. What do you call it? Signature edition that came with like the figure and the poster and all that. And we're gonna play that at a later date. Don't know when exactly, but it's like tangentially Mega Man related. And I've got the video recorded. I just got to put it together and post it. But there's a lot of stuff that I've bought with the intent of playing, but I haven't got around to it yet. And
Jonathan in chat reminding me of he says Ghost Pepper Gaming, and it reminds me because I think what he's referring to is the fact that I asked him if he wanted to eat a ghost pepper the other night, and he did. He just bit like half of it off in one bite and wasn't even phased by it. It was incredible.
What a champ. Ghost Pepper Gaming does sound like a really great channel name, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have much else. Hopefully by the next time we talk, I will be able to update you guys on the weight loss progress. That's one thing. And then I will hopefully have finished All-Star Superman, the comics.
Yes.
And maybe I will have finished Deus Ex. And we can actually get around to some media recommendations. But it's going to be hard to find time for either of us, I think, to do the media recommendations is the part I'm worried about because we have such big backlogs. I'm like hardcore crunching on cosplay stuff for Dragon Con, and I know once I'm done, I'm not really gonna be done because I'm gonna be wanting to move on to the next thing.
When is Dragon Con this year?
And then it's always on Labor Day weekend.
Oh, that's in like September, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks from now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Feels like just last week you got back from Dragon Con.
I know. I made the recap video, and like honestly, seeing how few videos are on the channel between last year's recap and now is really disappointing. But I did say I would slow down my output after making the game collecting video and focus on other things, and I did do that. So, as far as I'm concerned, I am right on course. But it is very, very, very hard to find time for everything. But I was telling Michelle the other night, I'm riding a particular high of motivation right now that I would like to continue to persist. I want to stay motivated and continue getting done the things that I want to get done.
I don't know why I just remembered this. One piece of media that I'm excited for that's coming out soon, or by soon I mean next year. Darth Maul Shadow Lord. New Star Wars series focused on my favorite character. I am 300% here for it. And,
Plus era stuff, except for the first season of The Mandalorian.
okay, so you haven't seen like the Ahsoka series or anything?
No, and the reason being is I don't have Disney Plus. I
Right.
watched the first season of The Mandalorian with my dad and my brother because they have it at their house.
Right.
So yeah, the one I really want to watch is Andor, but I haven't seen any of them for that reason.
So do you care about some spoilers for Ahsoka then?
I think I would like to hold off on spoilers because I do have some plans in the tank to watch that stuff because I was talking with Chris, who was in chat earlier,
Right.
about the Bad Batch.
Yes.
And we may be finding time to watch some of those together, or to share account information and watch it that way, or something like that. You know what I mean?
If you can get the account information sharing working, let me know because I was borrowing my brother's, but Disney started cracking down on that and like locked him out of his smart TV, so he had to jump through some hoops to get it to where he could stream it on there again and things like that. But if you can get
Gotcha.
if you get the account thing working, let me know. Basically, I'll just sum up without spoiling. I had a theory based on circumstantial evidence that perhaps Darth Maul might have fought this specific character, and I had like XYZ reason. and in the trailer we see them squaring up to fight each other, and I'm just over here like,
Oh yeah.
did I predict it? Was I right? So it's like, yes, they fought. I predicted that, but the reason as to why they fight or the outcome of the fight, did I predict that correctly too? And we're just gonna have to wait and see till the show comes out. But I'm excited about it because, as you know, Darth Maul, my favorite character, throughout the entire Star Wars franchise, and he's one character that most fans can agree that even during the Disney era has escaped character assassination pretty well. So anything that's got Darth Maul in it, I'm on board for.
Yeah, I knew you were definitely really excited for that one when they announced it. Um, I am excited for the Rogue Squadron series they announced.
Is it gonna be a series or a movie? I think they keep changing their mind on that one.
I don't know. I just know it's like an X-wing squadron side story type of thing, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy for that because I'm pretty sure my favorite Star Wars game ever was Rogue Squadron for N64. Like that's why I
Yeah.
loved Rogue One so much because it's the rebels. As much as I like to be an edgelord and say that I love the Sith, I love the dark side, I love like the red lightsabers and all that. I'm a rebel. Like if
Yeah.
I had a role in the Star Wars universe that involved combat, Rebel Alliance pilot for life. Like I can't even
Yeah, I
pretend.
feel that. Really quick before we end, because I think we may have talked about this before, but I'm not sure. But since you are a big fan of the Phantom Menace,
Yes.
have you played the original pod racing game?
For the N64 or like the arcade version?
It's the same. I think it's the same game.
It might be severely downscaled, but like the arcade version actually had you sit in like a like pod racer, like they had a machine built where you actually had like the joysticks and all that. They actually made it look like
Okay.
Anakin's pod.
Yeah. So ignoring the arcade version, it would be the N64 version and its ports. So it was originally N64, Dreamcast, and PC,
I have played
and
the
it's had an
N64
HD
version.
version since then.
I played the
Huh?
N64 version, and I think it was on the Star Wars collection that's got the Force Unleashed on it for Switch. So I think
Yeah.
I think I played the HD port as well.
Have you finished it?
No, I've only really dabbled in it. Like, I'm not huge on racing games. Like, of course, I played a ton of Mario Kart back in the day, but outside of those, I'm not like racing games aren't like one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're typically not with me either, but I'm very nostalgic about that game because I got that game, I think, for like my birthday in 1999 when Phantom Menace came out, the PC version, and I
Yeah.
think I still have the like crushed box of the PC big box somewhere around here somewhere. But
As far as I recall, the PC
I
version is basically the same thing as the PS1 version. So there's that.
there was no PS1 version.
Of the
It was only
I'm talking
it was-
about the Phantom Menace game. My bad.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, the pod racing game because
Yeah.
there was N64, Dreamcast, and PC, and the PC version obviously ran the best. But then it got that HD remaster, which runs great. And I played that PS4 version of the remaster from beginning to end. Right when I first moved into the house back in 2020, it was the first game I beat after we came into the house, and had a great time with it. Got the platinum trophy, and I would recommend that you attempt to finish it at some time. But I definitely I feel like if I wasn't already nostalgic for the game, it would definitely be hard for me to get into. But obviously, I'm nostalgic about it from being a kid, and I already knew what every stage in the game looked like before playing the HD version.
Yeah.
And the HD version was a lot more accessible. I had a hard time playing that with a keyboard and mouse, or like just a keyboard. I think we tried to play it with a joystick at one point when we were kids, but I think we eventually just settled on keyboard, and it was not forgiving to play with just a keyboard.
Yeah, that does sound like pretty complicated, especially since with some games, not every keyboard can detect multiple inputs, or like, does that make sense? Like multiple inputs at the same time. Like I don't know what the deciding factor in that is, but I know it's a problem on some emulators, and I think it was a problem on some PC games I played when I was younger as well. But it's like I'm trying to do these two things at the same time, but it won't register the second input until I lift up off the previous key. So trying to do that with a racing game, I can absolutely see that being a problem.
Yeah, I remember older keyboards as well having like if you did more than one input at a time, it would like freak out on you and give you that like error sound effect.
Yeah, the dong. Yeah, just
Yeah, yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about.
On that note, I think it is time to end.
Yeah, it's kind of late over here too because whenever I got to open in the morning, I got to get up at 4 a.m. So it's about time for me
Yeah,
to
I will
crash out for
also
the night
have
too.
to.
Not
I
crash
will
out,
also
just
have to get
crash.
up at like. Yeah, I will also have to get up at like 4:30 ish for work as well because I've got to be at the shop in Norcross, which is like an hour away. I've got to be there by 7:30 at the latest because they've got to inventory my work stuff,
Yeah.
my equipment. So, all right. Well, we will see you guys next time.
Yeah, thank you all for watching, and hopefully you'll join us next week, or hopefully this will become a weekly thing. And it was nice for those of you who hung out and chatted with us. I do enjoy these kind of just more chill streams when I don't have to worry about keeping gameplay going at the same time. I can actually
Yeah, I do
give
too.
my undivided attention to the conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well,
All right.
again,
Appreciate it. See you guys.
thank you all for watching. Be sure to check out CJ's channel. You can find it through the title. It should have a hyperlink over there. Just go give him some support, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Yep. And make sure to go check out Flashing Blades as well.
Thank you.